No. For some reason, 2024 has been one of the worst years to be an artist. Extra points if you're a creator from some art-adjacent community, like the art commentary community, whatever that means anymore, since every moron under the sun is getting lumped under that title, or the animation meme community, which happens to be the topic of this video. In the latter half of 2023, a Google Doc was published by an anonymous group of people alongside a YouTube channel and Tumblr blog, dedicated to exposing the actions of a creator by the name of Quartelz. The drama will be picked up again in 2024 when a former friend of Quartelz, Voided Aurora, came out with allegations of sexual assault, claiming Quartelz had assaulted their former partner, Clover, and was in the process of grooming a 15-year-old kid by the name of Kai. Since then, there have been no shortage of videos, posts, and blogs dedicated to furthering these claims, with Quartelz only having properly responded very recently. A video was released in October claiming she wasn't grooming Kai, and 2 live streams were hosted in December, the first one going over a video made by one of the original doc makers, and the second one going more in depth with Quartelz's relationship and interactions with Voided. So, where do I come into all of this? Back in September of 2023, I received an email from the doc makers asking me to take a look at the situation. It took me about 3 pages to realize most of this stuff was petty relationship drama that should have never made it onto any public platform, including Quartelz's channel. However, the doc was very disorganized, with dates of events very hard to track down beyond the general month in which they happened, so figuring out what happened first was a nightmare. In addition to pages of claims that were unfounded on both sides, there was evidence cut to frame Quartelz in the most uncharitable light possible, and petty squabbles brought against Quartelz, most of which were already resolved years prior, that realistically have no business being anywhere near alleged abuse allegations. I think it's pretty safe to say I was pretty annoyed with the situation as a whole. And that was before I had to hear about people completely misinterpreting what constitutes as sexual assault. Sorry, sexual abuse, and then push that narrative for months on end. This isn't to say Quartelz is completely innocent in this situation either. Quartelz has shown themselves to be impulsive, spiteful, and largely irresponsible when it comes to interacting with underage fans, but personally, I wouldn't go as far as to call her a groomer for it. This video will be covering the timeline of events I've been able to piece together before going in depth with the problems with the docs, videos, and blogs about the situation. There are parts of this situation I won't be touching on because I don't think I'm capable of finding credible resources to provide an educated opinion. Oh, and in case I have to spell it out again for any of you who didn't read the disclaimer, don't go harassing people involved. On to the video. Quartelz, also known as Jadestone RRB, Melmon, or just Mel, is a 19-year-old animator with a channel of 118,000 subscribers at the time of scripting. Her channel focuses on making animation memes, which are short animations to popular songs that are often copied and given new twists depending on the artist making them. Starting out on a completely separate channel, Jadestone RRB, at just 10 years old, Quartelz would begin posting animations centered around the Powerpuff Girls, before gradually moving on to posting about her original characters. This would continue until 2 years later, in 2017, Quartelz would create her current channel under the name Pastel Azriel to post content centered around her titular character Pastel, paired with Azriel from the hit indie game Sometime after, she would change her name to just Quartelz, and begin working on her own original storyline completely separate from Undertale, or any other pre-existing IP, called Shadow's Colors. It's around this time, in June of 2018, that Quartelz, who was 12, would meet their partner Orange in Quartelz's Discord server. After getting familiar with each other over text and voice calls, the two would soon begin dating, and almost immediately run into problems. But what did you expect? They're both 12. Around the beginning of September, Quartelz would have some personal issues that resulted in her and Orange breaking up. Shortly after this breakup, Quartelz would post an event on September 4th depicting the two of them separating. This is important, I promise. The breakup didn't last long, with the two of them getting back together as friends with benefits sometime after the event, before officially becoming partners again. Around this time is also when Orange would officially become the co-writer of Quartelz's story. And again, I promise, this will be important. Throughout the course of their relationship, Quartelz would repeatedly struggle with jealousy and often publicly vent about her relationship troubles through animations posted to her channel, and it appears Orange would do the same. In March of 2020, Orange and Lubulite, who had been longtime fans of each other's content, would properly meet and begin talking. They would grow very close very quickly, and around April 27th of 2020, Orange and Quartelz would break up, and very soon after, Orange would begin dating Lubulite. This incident is what Quartelz believes to be the first instance of Orange cheating on her. The arrangement didn't last, and sometime in May, Orange and Lubulite would break up, but remain friends. In the following months, Quartelz and Orange would get back together in August. In November of 2020, Quartelz would complain to Orange about how a fan of hers, Scotch, was copying her story too closely, and Orange decided to contact the fan to help them work on their story to make it more original. At the time, Orange and Quartelz were both 15, while Scotch was 12. In the process of helping Scotch rewrite their story, Orange and Scotch would grow very close, and begin shipping OCs with one another, and becoming friends with platonic benefits, whatever that means. Quartelz would get increasingly agitated about this arrangement, up until the point Scotch and Orange cut contact in February of 2021. And then, later in the same month, Orange would begin an on-again, off-again relationship with Luvulite, while still in a relationship with Quartelz. Quartelz and Orange would break up soon after Orange and Luvulite started dating, but at the time, Quartelz was unaware that Orange had cheated on them. Fast forward to 2022, on January 28th, Quartelz would make a channel by the name of Delta Buddy, where she would upload animation memes under the guise of being someone else. We'll talk about the two characters used in these animations later, we'll get to it. Sometime in June of 2020, Orange would get back into contact with Quartelz, supposedly through a group VC. The two would reconnect and agree to try and make things work between them. Keep in mind, Orange was doing this while they were still dating Luvulite. Things would continue this way for about a month, until Luvulite found out that Orange was cheating on her between July 29th and July 30th. Luvulite would break up with Orange and upload a vent about the situation titled Never Again on July 30th. In this time, Orange would also send desperate texts to Quartelz trying to apologize and asking if there was anything she could do so they could still keep in contact. This would prompt Quartelz to reach out to Luvulite on July 1st through a friend, Momo, to warn them about getting back together with Orange, and sometime in early August, they would have a call to talk more in depth about things. Quartelz would also vaguely vent about Orange on her channel later on August 14th, which is a little funny, seeing as she was the one participating in the cheating this time. A few months down the line in September, Orange and Luvulite would get back into contact and agree to get back together. However, it isn't until October of the same year that Orange would confide in Luvulite about her having cheated on Quartelz with Luvu. On October 31st, Luvulite would upload an animation meme titled Who Is She, which would spark some minor controversy, as Quartelz had also been streaming herself animating her own version of the Who Is She meme, and believed Luvulite to have copied her work. This would start a trend of Quartelz's friends and fans repeatedly harassing Luvulite for her animation, specifically picking at every detail she could have stolen from Quartelz. At the end of 2022, on December 31st, Quartelz would upload a compilation of her unfinished animations, which included one particular animation that would foreshadow what 2023 and the following years would bring. In early 2023, a situation that you would think would have no bearing on how the rest of this drama plays out would occur, that being Quartelz, Voided, and Voided's partner Clover all growing very close to one another. So close, in fact, that in March of 2023, those three would get freaky on a Friday night together in a VC. On April 28th, Momo and Quartelz would have their falling out and no longer be friends, with Momo soon contacting Orange and Luvulite to reconnect. And then, on May 6th, Quartelz uploads an animation titled Honest, accompanied by a vague description, although fans quickly deduced that the animation was about Orange, as a few months prior, Quartelz had gone back to change the titles of all of her animations for her ex. This animation would send droves of Quartelz's fans to harass both Orange and Luvulite, with Orange putting up a community post where they admitted to the cheating and explained that they were done with the platform. Due to the current upload made by Quartz/Mel, I won't be posting anymore. I wasn't trying to keep things a secret, just private in a way I felt was comfortable for the two of us. Clearly I was wrong, so I'll admit to what is true in the video. And so, I did cheat on Mel. Once, during 2021, and that was the only time I ever did in our relationship. The other cheating she might be referring to was towards my current partner, that lasted a few months, give or take. A cheating to which she was aware and proud of doing. I did go back and forth on her multiple times during the relationship. Each time was different, but I would break up, think about the breakup, and come back. I did most of those during the ages of 13 to 15. The last time I broke up was when I was 16, and it was when it should have all ended. The abusive behavior they described me doing, I wish I could fully talk about that. I'm not an expert at all, so I can't say I will correct them for the words they used at all. But I will admit, from the research I've done, my own behavior is similar to some of these. The only difference being intent, which, as I said, I don't have an expertise on if it makes a difference or not, so just take that as you will. It doesn't, by the way. Everything else I wish I could say or give answers to, like the essay allegation, but I just don't have info on it. If, for whatever reason, anyone does want to talk or feels the need to speak up about anything, my tag will remain the same and will be available as on Discord. You can also reach out or DM me through Instagram if felt urgent. For real and genuine reasons, I do not believe me or my friends are safe anymore, thanks to that upload, which is why I'm wiping this channel clean of having any ties with anyone else. If you are going to blame anyone for these situations, it will be me. Stop dragging people into this situation that have done nothing wrong or haven't even been involved. I do have my own truth, and as much as I want to speak about it, I do not feel comfortable making this a spectacle on the internet for everyone to gawk and point at. What I can say is that Mel isn't, nor will ever be, the innocent one in the situation. Yes, she was hurt, and she was wrong, but she wasn't the only one who was. And to Mel, you won. I really do hope you're happy. I'm not fighting this anymore, and I'm not going to drag you down like you did to me, because between the two of us, I had the balls to admit that I was wrong. If you ever do decide to talk, you know who to tell. If there's any questions, comments are open. Anything else I won't be responding to or delete. I appreciate anyone reading this. I do apologize on my actual behavior during the relationship in public and in private. I know many of you are disappointed, and you have the right to be. I will continue to get help and try to be a better person in the future for everyone in my life and more. Thank you, see ya. Live Light would also post an event about the situation on May 7th. Quartelz would respond to all of this by editing her description to include the following message. But I didn't get a chance to do this yesterday/last night, but I'll make a statement here too. Please do not go out of your way personally to go harass said person. Yes, they're a horrid person, but do not go out of your way to personally attack them. Regarding the hilarious statement made by them, you won, I hope you're happy. Get the fuck out of here with that shit, Lamau. How do you manage to make a post admitting to what you've done, yet still try to play the victim at the end? I'm not gonna drag you down like you've done to me, yet you're still trying to make me look bad. Yeah, I know there are a few things I've done that weren't 100%, but responding back to how you've treated me is not abuse, dumbass. You can't even get your facts right. I remember everything that's happened, and you're insane if you think people would actually buy you playing dumb. This all happened when I was 13 to 15. Hello? Did you forget about 2021? Did you forget about last year? Did you forget I've literally told you everything you've done last year, April? But even after that, you still managed to continue your behavior? A cheating she was aware and proud of. You're funny. Did you forget I've questioned you on your attempts to cheat on your other partner with me? Every time I did, you went silent. Yeah, I shouldn't have let that happen in the end. But at that point, I really just wanted you to stay, even if I knew the outcome was just going to be you leaving again. Yes, I was aware of it, but I was never proud that it happened. Why do you always rely on other people to try and fix yourself? You even tried relying on me on how to fix yourself. Not my problem. At least I had the balls to say that I was wrong. Yeah, right. You wouldn't have said shit if I never opened up. You're a joke. How do you say that and then try and go run off the face of the earth? For real and genuine reasons, me and my friends do not feel safe anymore. Thanks to this upload. Who's attacking your friends? This is about you, not any of them. I'm not dragging anyone into this because this is our situation. In the bluntest way I can put, I do not care about your friends because they are not involved. I wasn't trying to keep things a secret, just private in a way that felt comfortable for the two of us. I would never let what you did to me slide under the rug. Yeah, if I was still in a horrible mental state, I would have stayed quiet, and this day wouldn't have happened. But I got better, and have more self-respect for myself, not to let anyone hurt me this bad and get away with it. My own personal note. If you think running away is gonna be your final attempt to change, that'll be very surprising. You could change for the better, but don't want to see it. Stay out of my life. This is my last and only statement I'll be making about this publicly. Yes, this is an awareness post. Anything that comes after would only be an event to express past emotions or how I feel. Not to say this is an event either, but you know. I'll say it again just in case. To the public, do not go out of your way to harass them. Following this, Quartelz would become more open about her feelings toward her ex by posting several short animations about Orange up until August 4th, where a group of anonymous people, including Light, would make a channel under the name Deppy to promote a Google Doc about Quartelz. This doc would levy claims such as abuse, obsession, and character theft! Following this, on August 16th, they would open a Tumblr blog and begin accepting asks about the situation. Quartelz wouldn't acknowledge the developing situation in any meaningful way during this period, instead focusing on animating memes commemorating her 18th birthday. The Ask blog would continue to receive and answer asks, and on November 27th, they announced they would begin working on a second document on Quartelz to share evidence they had accumulated over the past few months. The Ask blog would continue to operate into early 2024, and they would release an unfinished version of the second doc before the whole blog was wiped from the earth. On March of 2024, Quartelz would release a doc responding to the allegations, although this doc was lackluster given the lack of screenshots and served more as a mostly performative apology. Soon after the release of this doc, Voided Aurora, who had been a staunch defender and close friend to Quartelz, began having issues with the friendship, starting in mid-April. Voided claims these issues to be Quartelz ghosting her when she had something important to talk about, while spending all of her time in VR chat. This eventually culminates into Voided and Quartelz ending their friendship on April 30th. The next few months would pass without much word from either party, until on June 30th, when Voided makes a vague Tumblr post about Quartelz, followed by a much more extensive post on July 13th that accuses Quartelz of having sexually assaulted their former partner, Clover. Quartelz would quickly respond to this allegation by posting a PDF to her Discord channel, attempting to quell these claims with the help of an unlicensed lawyer. During this time, another ex-friend of Quartelz, Love Like Mari, would make a stream going over the original document on July 24th. Voided would continue to post about Quartelz in the following months, expanding on her original claims to add that Quartelz was in the process of grooming a 15-year-old child by the name of Kai, with Quartelz being 18 at this time. On August 16th, Light would take to her second channel and post the video The Quartelz Situation Got Worse, positing themselves as a concerned third party to the whole situation and continuing to spread the narrative that Quartelz sexually assaulted Clover. During this time, Quartelz would continue to stay silent about this publicly, only publishing a video on August 19th celebrating Kai's 16th birthday, which did nothing but fuel the grooming claims. This would be followed up by a video released by Love Like Mari titled The Victims of Quartelz, The Irredeemable Liar, on August 24th, though Mari has since taken down and denounced this video. On October 12th, I would release their own Tumblr post coming out against Quartelz, for having been a bad friend to them, and just generally being extremely irresponsible with how she behaved around Kai. Quartelz would finally respond to the allegation on October 27th by posting a video on her second channel titled Clearing the Allegation. Shortly after, Kai would upload their own video on the situation on October 31st, though this video has also since been taken down and retracted. Around November 8th, Voided posted about how she attempted to contact those close to Quartelz a month back to check in on her. Apparently, Voided hadn't gotten the memo that you cannot simultaneously spread false essay allegations against someone and also be surprised when her friends treat you with nothing but hostility and suspicion. Following this, on November 11th, Live Like Mari would upload Quartelz a manipulative response, which has also since been retracted and taken down. Finally, on December 23rd, Quartelz would host a livestream going over Luvolite's original video and talking more in depth about the situation. This livestream would also be the first of two, with the other hosted on December 25th, where Quartelz dives into her friendship with Voided, and specifically why it ended. To this date, neither Luvolite nor Voided Aurora have retracted their statements that Quartelz had sexually abused Clover, with Luvolite electing to ignore the situation going forward, and Voided continuing to lash out at Quartelz on her Tumblr page. With this basic timeline of events established, let's proceed to the criticisms I have regarding the situation and how it was handled from both sides, starting with the allegations that I think were complete horseshit. This section was quite difficult to structure, given the sheer amount of claims levied against Quartelz, as well as the fact that many of these people regurgitated the same incorrect information, so I'll do my best to divide the section by severity of claims. We'll start with the most harmless ones and move down the chain until we get to the genuinely damaging ones. Keep in mind, this section will be focusing on the bullshit from Quartelz's detractors, so if you're interested in what Quartelz has actually done wrong, please skip to the next section where I'll be talking about that. Starting with Quartelz is bad because she doesn't take drug representation seriously. This claim is pulling from the fact that Quartelz has made an animation of one of her characters snorting a line of coke, as the lyrics describe that exact action. This is by far one of the worst claims in the doc, given that jokes around coke are incredibly common, and because outside of this singular example, the doc has nothing else to suggest that Quartelz is treating drug abuse lightly or glorifying it in her story. If this is the only example, a shitpost that wasn't even finished, there is nothing to back up this claim. Should have slapped on a trigger warning for drug abuse, but that's about the extent of any valid criticism. Hello! Quick update to the section because I can still see people complaining about Quartelz's depiction of drugs with her character Raspberry. She's recently uploaded a video focusing on his drug abuse for the entirety of the video, and there's this funny little disclaimer in the corner warning people that the video contains sensitive topics, so that's covered now. Also, it's absolutely fine to have unhealthy characters who are actively choosing to not get better, so long as the author makes sure to make it clear that the behavior they're involved in is bad. Quartelz is allowed to draw Raspberry living in the high of the drugs, and hopefully in the future she'll also be able to include how this is a toxic cycle for Raspberry. Or maybe this part of the video will age like milk. It very well might! Quartelz is racist and ableist. These two claims were lumped together in the Google Doc, though the racism claim will be expanded on in a Tumblr blog, which we'll get to. We'll tackle the ableism claim first, as it's a little shorter and easier to get out of the way, seeing as it stems from a post made in 2019. For some background, Quartelz has their own original species called Goddesses, and is the species of her main OC, Pastel. These creatures are born with accessories in their hair, and according to Quartelz, these accessories act as ways to protect the Goddesses, Goddessi, from physical damage, which at the time included autism. I'm sure you'll all be very thrilled to find out that this was changed in 2021, 2 years before it was ever called out by the doc makers. I'm honestly just mildly annoyed that they somehow managed to dig this far back to find this one obscure Tumblr ask from 2019, but couldn't be bothered to double check if this was still part of Quartelz's story. Quartelz has clearly already addressed this, so that's another bullshit claim for the bin. The racism allegation is a little more complicated with 3 different sources for this. One is the fact that Quartelz has stated Goddessi with white fur were higher class than those with colored fur. I'm sure you can all see the problems with that. And while this could not only be explained as a poorly thought choice made by a young artist who was world building for the first time, it was also, changed in 2020 to just be that white Goddessi were rare. Another piece of evidence was how Quartelz drew Amanda the Adventurer and how her hair was drawn incorrectly with the texture of curls rather than proper black hair. From what I've seen, it seems like a bit of a reach given Quartelz spent most of her time before this drawing furries, and the drawing was more so a lack of skill than malicious intent. I brought this up with Thuman, who agreed that Quartelz needed more practice. It just seems that the artist is not used to drawing different hair textures, but I wouldn't call it malicious or racist even. They just need practice. Lamau, why are people dragging beginner artists and minors for things that can just be explained to them normally? It was extra allegations tacked onto a messy relationship situation. I thought it was kind of ridiculous the first time I saw the accusations, but wanted to get some opinions from black artists. It seems to me that people are angry at this artist for something else and are using social justice or racism to shame them, rather than caring about it. Because rather than shaming them for not knowing how to draw textured hair, they could have given them resources to learn, or just constructive criticism, rather than labeling them automatically racist. It's now been a year since this claim has surfaced, and Quartelz has not repeated this mistake, to my knowledge. Quartelz has also gone on to claim to be learning how to draw dreads in the first drama discussion stream.
But, oh my god, what was I on again? Your fucking donation, like, distracted me. What was
Amanda the Adventurer, racism.
Ah, yes. How the fuck are you gonna call someone racist for drawing hair wrong? Do you know the meaning of racism? Like, dude, and even in my fucking server, the people that were there, I drew the hair wrong. People said in the fucking art response, like, hey, you know, you know, here's, like, better examples to draw because you didn't draw it right. And I was like, shit, my bad. Sorry. It's, like, it was, like, it's my fault anyways because I fucking used a piece of fan art for reference. And plus as well, that was, like, my first time kind of drawing POC hair. And, you know, then the fucking people in my server, they gave me, like, links, like, oh, hey, here's how you draw POC hair better. I was like, oh, thank you. So then the next fucking day, I literally drew a friend's OC that was black and had dreads, and then I tried implementing my own kind of, like, creativity in it, where, you know, I'd put little beads or, like, little fucking things in the fucking hair. So I'm swearing too much, I'm getting too angry, I'm so sorry. But...
The third one is a little tricky, as it revolves around Quartelz using AAVE language. AAVE stands for African American Vernacular English, and encompasses words like ops, yacht, cap, a lot of words that have been mistakenly credited to just internet lingo. There's a lot of debate around whether or not it's acceptable for people who aren't black to talk this way, as it was historically used to oppress and disregard black Americans. Some black people have come out to say that it's disrespectful for anyone who isn't black to use it at all. Others say it's alright so long as it's being acknowledged as AAVE. I've asked some of my friends for their takes, and it demonstrates quite well the diverse attitudes towards the topic. But one consensus that seems to be shared is that it should at the very least be acknowledged and respected as stemming from black culture. This document uses a testimony from someone who was allegedly in a VC with Quartelz, and it reads as such. Hey, I was the Anon talking about the doc, with Orange and other victims. Just wanted to put my 2 cents in about Quartelz. So I remember being in a VC with her and someone else. Pretty sure she kicked them. And they were talking about how people cancelled Aisha because of her saying the N-word. Her excuse was, other people can say it, so she could say it too. And other people say it, so why can't she? And as a black person myself, I just had to mute and question these two. As they went on about Aisha Erotica, I was sitting in my room thinking about why she's saying this when she isn't even black. Like, it's not her place to say things like that. Plus, I'm pretty sure that she said the N-word in her server. I remember she used AAVE multiple times, saying and using it wrong. She knows she's saying it wrong, but nobody in her server will speak up about it because they're scared and literal meat suckers. Even Voided's bitch ass. Yes, I see you dick riding, always talking for Quartelz when she's almost grown. You're always on her tip and she doesn't even like you. Regarding the N-word, we don't know if this is true or not, as this is just testimony. However, if it is true, Quartelz needs to seriously reevaluate her stances on this topic, and at the bare minimum, be able to take her idol off her pedestal and acknowledge what's wrong. The testimony with AAVE is where I start taking issue, as Anon specifically states that nobody in her server has spoken up about Quartelz incorrectly using AAVE, and outright assuming Quartelz knows they're using it wrong. I'll be so for real, I had no idea what AAVE was until this video, and I didn't know a lot of the words designated as internet slang was AAVE. You can't start crucifying people for not knowing better if you've never told them something is wrong. I hope that if Quartelz is watching this video, that she'll be willing to put aside some time to properly look into the subject, and I'll be linking videos and articles I've used as research below for anyone interested. I feel like Thuman has put it best. I think they are ignorant and should learn about other cultures more, especially African American culture. The interesting thing is, I'm not African American either, even though I am black. I still took time to learn AAVE and the correct way to use it. So if I, as a non-English speaker, can do that, so can they. I don't expect people to know everything about AAVE, but I don't think it's too unreasonable to ask people to refrain from using language they don't understand. Next, we have character theft allegations. You know what? I don't want to suffer alone through this again, and I know just the person to be covering petty squabbles over character designs being stolen.
Hey, Ponder! Is this your Christmas gift to me?
Oh yes, this is my horrible Christmas gift to you. I truly hope you enjoy it. So this character on the left here, this is the original character made by Orange.
Okay.
And this is the stolen character. The only thing stolen, by the way, would be the fact they're both yellow and occupy the same role in the story.
Okay, but also, am I to assume that the other character is canonically purple?
Oh yeah, this one is Quartelz' character. Like she made this one, so this one doesn't count. This one is the focus, the yellow one.
Okay, so I have a sneaking suspicion that the yellow design choice for the character was specifically to contrast the purple.
I don't actually know why she chose this design, but that was my first inkling too when I saw these two.
Okay, yeah, because that's what I would have assumed. So then it would have made sense. It's like, oh, okay, well, they can't use this design of the character. It makes sense for them to still use yellow as the prominent color scheme if it's supposed to contrast the purple.
What's your verdict for this one?
Dumb. Fucking stupid. Are we banking into fucking color theft being a thing again? Have we circled right back around to that?
About that, actually. You see,
oh no.
We'll get to it later. This is the other character. I think this one is called Aiko. This is the original design right here, right?
Right.
This is the stolen character. And again, the only difference being that they're vaguely purple themed and are shipped with the same character that the other character was shipped with before, being this deer thing over here.
Are they purple themed? I don't inherently look at magenta as purple.
It's close enough to the dog makers, I guess. It's purple-ish.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Are the dog makers colorblind?
Because
that I could understand.
I wish I could say yes, that I would maybe make this better, but I think the funnier part is all the dog makers are artists, or at least all the dog makers that I know of are artists. So I don't know.
So because short hair and like what look to be maybe not cat ears but cat-esque ears.
Yeah.
Cool. Love it. Except I don't. Hate it.
What's the verdict for this one?
Also dumb. This one, perhaps they've got a little more of a case because the hairstyle is very similar and they do still have like the ear things, but it really does feel like the entire vibe of the character has been completely changed. So, yeah, no, like I'm sorry, these are blatantly not the same character.
Welcome back to color theft!
Oh,
I think what makes me the angriest with this one is it specifically says stolen design, but the only thing that is even vaguely the same is the fact they're the same. Like the base skin is the same color, or the base fur, I guess. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that's the same.
I don't think these artists understand what a design is if they classify a design as a single fucking color.
This was the character design.
And that's what they stole it from?
Stolen character. Again, the only thing that's the same is the fact that all these characters are shipped with Quartelz' characters that used to be like characters that were shipped with Orange's characters. That's the only like thing that's the same. Plus like vaguely similar color themes, I guess. I guess the only thing that I would be able to back the dog makers on for this one is Quartelz has shown an obsessive streak with Orange specifically, so this being like the same color, I can understand the discomfort, but I also don't think you can just like ban her from using like this specific shade of yellow. Like
it's also like that shade of yellow is something that people sometimes use for skin tones. Like, not even just on furry characters, like, regular-ass fucking characters. If they've got, like, you know how skin has, you've either got the yellow undertone or you've got the pink undertone? Mm-hmm. That is 100% just a skin tone you could use on a person.
How would you rank this one? This one specifically mentioned as stolen design.
Oh, I think you're correct. This is objectively the dumbest one.
So let's move on to the only ones that have like something of substance. These two. So this character right here. This one I can like kind of see because of the circles under the eyes, the darker like fur tinges. But at the same time, it's clearly been changed like quite a bit. Like what would you say?
You can definitely recognize that the character had some inspiration. The longer hair obviously sets it apart. They've got like the little pink stripy bits in the hair. The circles under the eyes are definitely similar, but I think they're different enough that it differentiates the design, because the circles under the eyes in the first one are the same color as like the ears, but in the other one they mesh into the slightly darker tone around the face, which creates a slightly different design. Like I would argue that there's enough difference that I don't think it's really that big of a deal. I can understand why the doc makers might see it as a big deal, but I would argue that they already very clearly have a bias against Quartelz, or Quartelz, whatever the fuck its name is. It's different enough that I wouldn't really be concerned with it, but if they want to make the case and say like, hey, we know you tried here, but we'd appreciate it if you did like a little more differentiating, I think that would be fine.
So this is the character that I was talking about before. This is Orange stating that I have to design these characters, Leafy being this one. So
okay.
I'm assuming, because we don't have any more context from this, that these characters were made for Quartelz. This character is supposed to be the child of Quartelz's main OC, Pastel, and one of Orange's characters. The color theft one, actually.
Oh god. Okay.
So this is what they looked like before, and this is them now.
So completely different.
The only thing that's the same is like a yellow-green color scheme, but yes, that's...
Yeah, God forbid people share color schemes. You know, I've got a sexy robot character who's predominantly gold, pink, and yellow. Or, sorry, gold, pink, and white. That means nobody else can have a character that's gold, pink, and white.
The argument here is because, I believe that Quartelz and Orange used to, like, project onto the two characters that are the parent of this child. That that's why they're upset. They're like, why are you, this is, they claim this is Orange's OC, so Quartelz can't be reusing them at all.
Well, no, not if Orange has made the character under an agreement for Quartelz, then upon passing it off to them, it now belongs to Quartelz, period. It was made either as a part of an agreement, in a collaboration, or as a gift, and unless there was a part of the agreement that they break up, and like ownership of that character transfers back to the person who created it, sucks to suck, it belongs to Quartelz, and they're allowed to do whatever they want with it. Realistically speaking, Quartelz is being kind by changing the design, because unless there was some sort of specification in their original agreement, they are under no obligation to.
Well, this one I feel like is the only one that's like worth anything, that I feel like, yeah, you definitely need to change this design specifically.
Oh yeah, 100%. This one is way too close.
Yeah, so
honestly, a lot of it literally just looks like they changed the clothes on the character. Nothing about the character design itself seems particularly different.
Yeah. Yeah, alright, so this is a quick one and done. Change this fucking design.
Yep.
Easy as that.
I do kind of like the candy corn wings, though.
Oh yeah, this is... Most of their characters are very nice to look at. It's just unfortunate that this is the context in which you have to look at them.
Yeah.
This is the like also the other one that has like, you know, clear copying from, or like character lifted from. But the funny thing about this one, you see, I don't know if it's next screenshot. Where is it? Okay, I can't find it right now. But there's a screenshot of the person who owns this character giving this character over to Quartelz.
Okay, then just fuck off. Again, like, just because your friendship fell out does not suddenly mean that the ownership of gifts transfers back over to the person who give it. That's not how fucking gifts work. I can understand that it can feel awkward or upsetting if you have a falling out with someone and you gave them a character to use and you see them using that character. However, I would also argue that one, you could argue, sure, it showcases maybe they're being petty because they're still using the character and blah, blah, blah. But in some ways, it probably also means that they still valued the contributions of the friendship.
I don't know if that's necessarily the case for Quartelz. I feel like this is more of a case of they've spent this many years collaborating with their friends, making this story. Their friends fall out, and now they're just left with like giant holes in the story if they just completely take the characters out, and their friends are just upset that they can't just pick up their characters and leave with them.
They're upset that Quartelz didn't want to start from ground zero again. Literally speaking, unless there is some sort of contract agreement or written agreement between these two, where if they had a falling out, Quartelz was not allowed to use the characters that were made for them. Like, they don't have a leg to stand on. Period. Like, I'm sorry, that's how it works. You give something to a person, it belongs to them. How old are these people? I assume that they're, like, below 20.
Yeah, I believe Quartelz at the time of this conversation, I believe they were 18. I don't know how old CD is. I think they're also somewhere around like 17, 18.
Yeah. I understand it, but realistically speaking, in terms of like social contracts or whatever, they really don't have a leg to stand on. All they are going off of is like the emotional impact of knowing that their characters are being used by someone that they don't want to be using their characters. And like, I'm sorry, as an artist, sometimes that's gonna happen to you. That's a product of life. You can't control it.
Watch as, like, after this, once, like, character theft drama pops up and we start seeing, like, legal documentation of, I told you!
the little pseudo, like, social contracts of, like, if we stop being friends, you can't use my character. At least in those instances, it would make shit so much easier.
Thank you for lending me your expertise and for sitting through this bullshit.
No problem. Thank you for the terrible, horrible Christmas gift.
Of course, you're welcome. Give a round of applause to the resident tentacle gremlin. However, we only covered the character theft for characters that were in the document. Later in July of 2024, ex-friend Fern, the creator of Frostbite and Bronze, who were prominent characters in Quartelz's story, claimed that Quartelz was stealing their characters after they cut off the friendship, which led to this extensive conversation. Quartelz is stealing my characters. This is a brief call-out post. Do not send any form of harassment towards the Quartelz. Do not condone any form of harassment or spam towards anybody. July 19th, 2024, I was informed that Quartelz was using my characters, Bronze and Frostbite, without my permission. I decided to privately confront them about it, telling them to stop. This is the conversation that took place in full. Why are you using Frostbite and Bronze without my permission? To be clear, I'm not okay with you using them anymore, and I don't want them or any of my characters to be a part of Shadow's colors anymore. I apologize severely for taking ages to reply. I did want to have something well written to be able to match what you wrote me, but I never got the time or around to it. One of the things I wanted to list were Bronze and Frostbite when you left. I would normally just leave them be and probably find or make a replacement character, but I've had them in the story for a very long time, and they've been extremely important in the story. I don't want to be dealing with holes or missing OCs anymore. Even if I were to use them, I was still going to credit you since you did make them. Or if not, that I was going to compromise, we split them off, so you're able to have your versions and I can have my versions of them. I apologize again. I would fully respect your wishes, but I've had them for a long time in the story, and they've been a very important part. I can't replace or lose them. I know this is the fourth story, but I should have talked to you about it instead of going off something you and I said I could do a few months back. I don't want to be dealing with holes or missing OCs anymore. I would fully respect your wishes, but really, you're the most selfish person I've ever met. They're of my creation and my ideas. Creations I tried so very hard to involve you with. But you continuously treated me like crap. I've poured myself into them at every possible moment. You're not the only one losing something. I lost the hours and hours I spent trying to make them enjoyable in every possible way I could think of. You didn't give me time unless you were having problems with other people. What makes you think you deserve to keep the time I gave and spent on you? You won't respect me? You won't give me your time until it comes to them? The thought alone is ridiculous to me. You're not allowed to use them anymore. I'm sorry I treated you horribly, I really am. I'm aware I'm being selfish, but I'm not going to be taking no as an answer. I'm sorry. I know you've poured hours of time and effort into them, and I know I was always being not nice about it. I already know me asking this whole thing is pathetic. I'll obviously not use any of your other OCs, but it's only Frostbite and Bronze I need, and I'll leave you and everything else alone. That's not leaving me alone. That's actively using my work without my consent. If you don't stop using them, I'm going to make this public. My work and my creations are not yours to use. I don't mean it as a baseless threat. I'm not going to stay quiet like I did the first time I found out you were using them all those years ago. They weren't yours to use because you disrespected my conditions for using them. You used them falsely for years. That's the only reason you've had them for so long. Because I didn't stand up for myself. I'm not going to make that same mistake again. I didn't come here to compromise. I don't want you to use them in Shadow's colors or in anything else. From the very beginning, I said I wanted you to make / design those 2 characters for me to use. For 7 years, I've been under the impression that they were made for me, since that's what I asked of you. While I understand where you're coming from since you did make / design them, I've used them in my stories and they were made for my story. I don't care if you think that I'm being selfish or if you want to speak up about it. I do not care. They were characters made for my story and it's been that way for 7 years and they're not characters I can easily let go of or replace. I don't care what you say, I'm still going to be using them for my story since they were created for it. And I'm not letting them go. Have a nice life. Void Aurora then reblogs this post with, I think it is absolutely vile that she directly is refusing to stop using them. I get that she's had them long, but Fern has made it 100% clear that she isn't allowed to use them. And since Fern made and owns them, she should respect that. She's being selfish, disrespectful, insensitive, and a slew of other things. I do not want to see anyone sympathizing with her losing the characters / not being allowed to use them either, because I myself directly told her time and time again to discuss the ownership of Frostbite and Bronze, and she never took any steps at all. As well as her actions as being a terrible person to friends and many others is what led to all of this. She's the only one at fault here. It's her own actions that got her here. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but Voided, Fern, neither of you have any legs to stand on. First of all, why do you, Voided, get to continue using the original species made by Quartelz for your characters? Are you planning to change the Goddess's characters into different species? I know people tend to change OCs to distance themselves from creators who hurt them to do it, but it's gonna be strange to see Iris look different. Not mean, curious. Nope. All of my Goddesses will stay Goddesses. It's a public species after all, simply separating the art / species from the artist / creator. So no worries. If anything, their personal relationships with each other will just be adjusted. But that's pretty much it. Even though I don't support Mel, I will still credit her as the species creator, obviously. Post-editing stream here. Fern reached out again after I made posts about how I was going to be covering the situation publicly. I'll admit, this conversation reminded me that no one has any screenshots of if or not Bronze and Frostbite were given to Quartelz as a gift. Fern claims that Quartelz and Momo had approached her to make Bronze and Frostbite as a way to include her when they made Pastel and Teardrop instead of Quartelz asking her to make these designs to fill roles in her story. Since there's no evidence to back either side, who actually owns these 2 characters remains murky. There are no screenshots of a pre-established agreement that Quartelz would not be allowed to use these characters after their friendship ended before their friendship ended. And as such, I don't think there's anything wrong with Quartelz redesigning these characters and keeping them in her story. Quartelz is a shit talker. This is the part of the drama where I have to stare down the doc makers for bringing in completely unnecessary personal grievances while supposedly making a serious expose. While this claim only took up a small section in the document, I feel like it's important to cover, given not only are these claims from Mari false from the evidence shown, but Mari would go on to be one of the loudest voices in the room against Quartelz, making live streams, videos, and even appearing in a video talking about how bad Quartelz's art is. Mari's dislike of Quartelz appears to stem from a fallout that she, Kendall, and Aiden had with Quartelz. According to Mari, she, Kendall, Aiden, and Quartelz had a group chat with each other, and that Quartelz would shit-talk the other 3 people in the group chat to a mutual friend, picking at their behavior, art, and just day-to-day interactions to make fun of them while they were still friends. If you could actually be bothered to read the screenshots though, you would very quickly piece together that Quartelz only started talking shit after Quartelz and Mari were already fighting. The screenshot with the early date among the cluster of screenshots provided is from March 29th, 2023, and it appears this is the date that Quartelz found out Kendall and the other group chat members were back on friendly terms with Orange. Laval, yeah, I get you. I'm the same. Oh my god, when I shit my ass when I had to read, you don't want to be on good terms with COVID? That's when I knew me and Kenny were going to get along on a few things. The one time I opened up to Kenny because I was lecturing them on COVID. For more context, I was going to play Overwatch with Kenny because they were already on and they said, you're not going to like who I'm playing with. And I obviously started getting upset at them because in my face, you told me you were playing with COVID? My ex you know I have bad blood with? So that's when I went on a lecture to them. About 10 minutes later, Quartelz would openly confront the group chat about this discovery, and it appears this is when Quartelz cut off Mari, Kendall, and Aiden. Oh my god, I'm gonna explode. I'm holding everything back in my balls right now not to scream at the both of them. I talked to Orange. Why do you just let people that's wrong you back in your life? Because we are stupid and ill? I don't know. It just be like that, I guess. Also, we don't really talk much to each other anyways. And after this incident on March 29th are the various screenshots of Quartelz talking smack about Mari and Kendall, with screenshots from April 14th and April 25th. Unless Mari is able to provide screenshots of her and Quartelz being friends past the date of March 29th, these screenshots prove nothing. It proves Quartelz was bad-mouthing ex-friends to mutual friends, but that doesn't carry the same connotations of shit-talking your friends behind their back, nor is this a call-out worthy offense. On January 28th, 2022, Quartelz would make a channel under the name Delta Buddy. The doc claims this to be a self-insert alt channel to indulge in her feelings of Orange. They were not dating at this time, and Orange was already with Purple when these were being made, but there is no proof but a hypothetical. Below is the proof in Quartelz files of her saved animations, some of them being Delta Buddy's animations. Quartz made a shitpost animation on her alt channel where she accidentally exposed all her files on this. However, when this was found out, she blurred it. The way the doc presents his claim makes it seem that Quartelz was flip-flopping between being deeply obsessed with Orange and publicly bashing them for cheating on her at the same time, like she was cosplaying Birdie. Alright, let's pull up the timeline, shall we? February of 2021 was when Orange cheated on Quartelz with Luvulite, and shortly after, Orange and Quartelz broke up. For the rest of 2021, Quartelz said nothing publicly about Orange. Then, at the start of 2022, Quartelz makes the Delta Buddy channel and begins posting memes about these two characters, Delta and Celestine. She would continue making videos until Quartelz and Orange reconnected in mid-2022, and Orange started cheating on Luvulite with Quartelz, before their channel stopped posting on July 18th, sometime before Luvulite found out about said cheating. There is no overlap between the time these animations were made and Quartelz going on to publicly bash Orange. The doc also claims that Quartelz was trying to use the channel to influence Orange by showing she still cares about them. Firstly, Quartelz made the channel when they were not in contact with Orange, and secondly, if she did send the channel to Orange when they reconnected, you know who should have been the one to back away? Orange. The doc is implying Quartelz showing interest in Orange influenced her into cheating, instead of pointing at the clear and obvious fact that Orange made the decision and should not have cheated. Period. It was shitty of Quartelz to flirt with Orange. I'll agree with you there. However, we will not be playing the "but the cheater was tempted into it" game today. On top of all of this, these two characters aren't self-inserts. If you actually read the screenshot, it directly contradicts the doc's claims about these being Orange. On top of that, she's been saying how the characters are you and Orange. Which, I will be very honest with you, I did end up agreeing, but I don't know why I never did say she could use it against you, because if it is, I know it's because you're dealing with it and coping and whatever. Like, come on. Meant that, like, don't know why she would use that against you, sorry if I said that weird. They weren't specifically me and Orange, but they were a happy love fence. Because Celestine, the sheep character, I made her while I was having a horrible mental moment, so she was meant to represent everything that made me happy and everything that I loved. But after let me go check, I haven't uploaded there in eons. Decades even. These four had the intent of me thinking about Orange. And even then, 2 of the 4 videos that you could argue were self-inserts were made during the time Orange was cheating on Luvulite with Quartelz. Keep in mind, this is not a defense for what Quartelz would later on do, but you can't be accusing people with shit evidence when the timeline just doesn't add up. The only screenshots of Quartelz shit-talking anyone between the time that she and Orange broke up and the time she made the Delta Buddy channel are screenshots of her shit-talking Luvulite, not Orange. Quartelz was never sorry for any of her previous actions. This is a claim that's been taken completely out of context. On July 13th, 2024, Voided would make a very long post about Quartelz, focusing on how she was never sorry for anything she's done. Ever. There are 2 halves to this claim, one being that the whole doc was written by Voided and not Quartelz, and the other being messages that Quartelz sent Voided saying that she wasn't sorry for anything. Voided being the only one to write this doc is a he said she said situation. It's impossible to determine whether or not this is true. Voided has only shown she's able to access and edit the doc, but that doesn't mean she wrote the whole thing. I wish the actual full history of the doc was released, because you can check who added to the doc and what they added with that feature. And while the history shown does show quite a few consecutive edits from someone named Archie, it doesn't actually show us that Quartelz didn't edit the doc, because the rest of the edits were all made by anonymous people. I also find it a little strange that Voided didn't scroll all the way down the history list, given the conversation she was having with Quartelz about writing the apology doc occurred mostly in November of 2023, and the doc was released in March of 2024, yet we only see the edits from late February. This could be oversight from Voided, but either way, it's very strange. The other half of Voided's claim is partially true as well. We'll need to read through the screenshots for this one, so bear with me for a bit. It's only because if I do make an apology, I'd only want / make it about the public stuff. And I want it to look like I'm apologizing to anyone on the other side, since it's literally all I've done my life with COVID. Always having to apologize for stuff that's not my fault. I know you don't want to, but you gotta make it an apology to everyone. It just makes my piss boil, or else they won't consider it genuine, and they'll make more shit anyways. Hey Google, how to write an apology I don't mean. Okay. Every day I half wish someone could do this doc for me, but I feel so selfish thinking about it. Yar. Again, you don't exactly need a doc. You can just shit out an apology and take the bullet. You still have the opportunity to, write a somewhat genuine apology, admit your wrongdoings, and just get help on problems later on in life. What you did when you were 14 to 18 won't ruin your life if you don't let it. This ain't no Bury situation, Lamau. Lol. Well, yeah, but, I don't know. We've already done, half the doc, kinda. So it'd be a waste to just drop it. Well, I don't wanna drop it. I mean, to, put it on the back burner a little. I like to get out an apology first, then shit out the doc. I don't know. It'd be a public apology, only apologizing to fans / people about the inconvenience I've caused or whatever. I'm not apologizing to anyone on the other side, something like that. I don't know. Get off my dick. Or I won't comment on that any further because I ain't gonna lecture you when you're already. I know, but I don't like feeling stepped on. Wow, it's okay. I'll let you know I also got help with it from PC and Archie. So if the grammar is off, that's probably why. On Archie's side, not PC's. But even so, Archie was a big fat help because I know my ass would not be able to write sorries for these ones. From these screenshots alone, you can clearly see Quartelz is unapologetic about the stuff that happened with Orange and Luvulite. And that's it. From what we can glean from these texts, Quartelz is genuine about her apologies to the public for potentially misrepresenting drug abuse, racism, ableism, etc. Is that to say Quartelz is in the right for not being apologetic to Orange and Luvulite or any of her other ex-friends for that matter? No! and I'll elaborate on how absolutely stupid it was for her to publicize her relationship drama in the next section. But to say Quartelz not being sorry for anything at all is a stretch we don't need to be making when there's other shit we can criticize her for. Technically, this should be under the obsession/narcissism section of the doc. However, these pictures were never posted publicly by Quartelz, having only briefly appeared during a live stream where she was looking for other files. So I'm gonna put them in this subsection. I really do not like this part of the doc, as not only do they bring up how this was kept private, this section has this weird undertone of Quartelz is creepy and obsessed with a 12 to 13-year-old. Quartelz's obsession with Orange goes to be focused on Orange's old personas, mainly known as lemon/gay. She has an odd romanticization of Orange's younger self, most likely to be believed when the two met and when the relationship was healthy. It goes on to be creepier if you consider that these personas were meant to represent Orange as an online persona, where they were 12 to 13 years old. Quartz, saving the artwork, even drawing more of the two together in love is disturbing. It is more disturbing considering Quartz is going to be a legal 18-year-old adult, drawing herself in her ex's 13-year-old's persona's clothing. The screenshots of the files were originally exposed on a stream of Quartz, while the others were given in private. I was actually able to get the dates of 2 of the images from Quartelz, one of them being made on August 23rd, 2022, and the other on September 13th, 2022. If we look to the timeline, these were all made before Quartelz was openly bashing Orange. I wasn't able to get a date for when this piece was made, but if I had to guess, it was probably after the other two. And unsurprisingly, people's attitude about their ex is gonna change over time. But Stream, it's still creepy that she's drawing Orange from when they were 12 to 13. Right. So then, tell me why it's not creepy for Luvulite to do it. Is Luvulite romanticizing being with a 12-year-old Orange when she draws these pictures? Or are these clearly meant to represent an earlier part of their life? If you take a look at these pictures more closely, Quartelz isn't drawing the present-day persona in these pictures, which at the time looked like this. They were drawing their old persona from when they were 12 to 13 as well. And these drawings are very clearly either reminiscing about her past or projecting her current feelings onto her past. Is this a healthy way to cope? It's not my place to judge, actually. Why? Because this was never made public by Quartelz. Neither you nor I get to dictate how Quartelz copes with her breakup behind the scenes, so long as it isn't reaching into illegal territory. I will be upfront and say that I've been sent evidence of something that does clearly cross into unhealthy, and you should see a doctor about this territory. However, as this material is pornographic in nature, and was made when Quartelz was still underage, I don't feel comfortable sharing it anywhere. As far as I'm aware, she hasn't drawn anything like this since. However, if it has happened, seek professional help. So, this part of the claim is kind of outdated. The doc brings up a very old situation revolving around an animation Quartelz made back in 2019 called Copycat, where she had publicly shamed other kids who were taking too much inspiration from her art. We do not need to go over why this is stupid again. But this was something Quartelz had already apologized for sometime in 2020. You know, 3 years before the call-out happened. Okay, so hi. Before you ask or notice, I have enlisted my Copycat AAVE because it's nasty and it makes me really uncomfortable. But if you still like it and like watching it for some reason, you'll be able to find it in the animations playlist or whatever playlist you see on my channel. Reason being is because my views have changed on the subject and I feel really bad for anyone who really liked my stuff last year. Being inspired and motivated by someone you look up is an amazing feeling. But knowing they made a video about don't copy or get heavily inspired by me can hurt a lot because then you get scared and have to worry about did I copy too much from them or something like that. And since I have a fan base back then, most fans were on my side with a lot of the don't copy Quartelz thing. I know I've influenced a lot of people as well in rather thinking/acting like me, and I understand why you could be scared of me. I realized this after looking at some of my old videos from back when I was Jade, and so I used to take a lot of inspiration from other people I watched back then, and I really loved them. Remembering that motivation and inspiration is an amazing, cute, heartwarming thing, and then realizing that I've rather scared a lot of people or made them act like me last year is So I apologize for my actions last year and everything I said. I'm sorry for the bad look I gave myself last year. I know some people may not understand this, but I know others will. I was a kid last year that's just broken out of the hands of my abusive mother. I was always held and severely judged by her. I was never allowed to do my own thing. So the moment I had my own freedom, I just rebelled 100. But I've learned from my mistakes and want to say I'm sorry. Even though some of my actions can be excused, some others can't. I'd just like you to do what you want. If you like something I've done and want to make your own version, go ahead. If you like something someone else has done and you want to make your own version, go ahead. I don't want you to feel scared of making something, just go ahead and do what you want. To my knowledge, Quartelz has never publicly shamed any other fans of her work. Behind the scenes, maybe, but Quartelz is allowed to have her own feelings and vent her frustrations behind the scenes. It only becomes a problem if it leads to public shaming like it did before. And yes, we will get to the instance of her actually doing this. Quartelz was an abusive partner. There are sections in the doc that claim Quartelz to be an abusive partner without any actual evidence to back it up, such as the claim that Quartelz would regularly love bomb Orange. While it is true that Quartelz would regularly make gifts for Orange over the course of their relationship, the doc does nothing to show the devaluation stage of love bombing. That is, if Orange upsets Quartelz shouting, demeaning, or drawing away from the relationship. Am I saying it's impossible for this to have happened? No. From what's shown in the doc, it's clear that Quartelz was highly possessive and overbearing with Orange. However, if you're going to make claims with this magnitude, you better have the receipts to back it up. Finally, we've arrived to the big bad claim of the section, that Quartelz actually abused Voided Aurora's ex-partner, Clover. This claim is hard to cover given it was spread across so many videos and Tumblr posts, so I'll be covering points brought up and either read or show clips where necessary. On July 13th, 2024, Voided would publicly speak about the assault for the first time. However, the claims lack screenshots, trigger warning, essay, and coercion. I don't really know how to approach talking about this, but around the 30th of March 2023, before and after, Clover, Mel, and I had become pretty close friends. This eventually evolved into us having sexual interactions with each other as a group twice. At the time, we all had lengthy conversations making sure everyone was okay with it, the whole consent protocol and such. For the record, our age differences at the time were 16, 17, and 17. This is relevant because a while back, I'm not sure when, Mel had admitted to me one day that she only slept with Clover to do things with me. I know for a fact she will deny this. This obviously horrified me and Clover because we were under the impression it was a mutual thing between all of us. I'm sure Clover feels violated, used, and a slew of other things. I feel absolutely terrible about the entire thing because I was the one who helped her feel comfortable in the whole thing in the first place and convinced her it was something mutual. To have Mel later on admit it was not and that she just wanted an excuse to do shit with me is absolutely disgusting. Clover and I are both extremely damaged from this, and neither of us ever got an apology from this, and probably never will. Not one that she means, at least. She's already proven she doesn't feel remorse for anything she does. You'd think the person that allegedly got herself assaulted and had dealt with homeworking things herself wouldn't do something like this, but here we are. This would be followed on July 14th by a PDF response released in Quartelz's Discord server, attempting to debunk the claim. And the whole thing was written in legal jargon. Well done, Quartelz. This is the one thing you never want to be doing when dealing with drama. I must make it clear, Quartelz has not previously or currently accused Voided or Clover of sexual assault. Voided would follow up with a response on the same day, this time providing screenshots of the incident in question. Reading through this conversation, the first bit of it features Quartelz attempting to deflect away from the topic of sex, claiming she can't take it seriously, and that she'd like to stay and hang out, and very clearly making a joke of the situation. Time to lock my legs behind my armrests. I'll be back in 30 minutes, guys, half joking. Damn, if you need help, wink wink wink. Enjoy your fapping, hopefully, self-love. I would be a fat liar if I said I wasn't thinking about it. Bro, my Discord, I'm always getting hacked. As we've said, if you can't nut, we're here to help, hopefully. I know myself, I'm gonna end up laughing either way. Okay, go focus on your nut before it gets light outside. Lamphao? I can't. I'll confess because I am broken. I know yous are chill. I'd be a liar if I said I wasn't half hormonal right now. But you see, I can't take anything seriously, so I keep laughing. I can't. This isn't real, my cookie isn't real either. Well, Vow, it's okay. I'm the Joker IRL. It's okay. It's okay, Sensei, you got this. I believe in you. Plus, if start getting my tip sticky, I can't type. Then go. Go, go, go. The wind, hello? Go get slippery. I don't wanna. I'll do it for you then, damn. I want to stay with my baby girls. No, it's okay. Plus, if you can't jizz, your baby girls can join you. It's okay. I felt bad because I know yous are together right now, so I don't want to disturb yous. Afterwards, the parties both seemed interested in the idea of hooking up, minus Clover because Voided blotted out their responses. To clarify, this was all happening over a Discord call, as none of the parties live next to each other as far as I know. Are you asking to fuck, or is this just a normal hangout? I can't read the room. Lamau? I can't tell either, though I wouldn't mind hanging out. I'm in alpha heat right now, so please laugh, please laugh. Alpha heat. But I don't mind hanging out. But if yous want a handout, just excuse that I'm hormonal, I apologize. I'll just ignore your alpha heat. I won't ignore it. I will not be able to not think about it. It's okay, don't worry. Val, I won't either. But give me a sec because me and Fern are both muted in VC. What the fuck do I do? This happened last time. Say you're being stolen, or... I know they're just playing Candy Crush. First watching Lion King is interrupted by physical heat, now it's being blocked by the other kind. Huh? I don't mind. Yous watching Lion King? We were gonna, Lamau. Voided want to watch Lion King. Like 4 days ago. Not yet though. 3. Lion King can wait. My baby girl needs me. Oh shit, Netflix and chill, but it's Lion King. I'll say I'm being stolen because Void needs me for a collab so we can draw chibi things together. Oh my god. I mentioned this before, Lamau. I planned 5 steps ahead. Bro is making excuses to get her dick sucked. They won't kill you even if they knew. They'd probably be happy for you. It is okay. I'm gonna shit myself. I got out. It's okay. You can call whenever. My eyes must be bulbous. I'm ready when you are. Teehee. Just know I will have music in my ass. Voided Aurora started a call that lasted 9 hours. This is where I'm about to get a little pissy about things. Void was 17 turning 18 at the time she wrote this. However, given that they've only doubled down on the claims since, I'm going to have to deconstruct why the sexual coercion thing doesn't work here. The definition of sexual coercion that's being used in the situation is
unwanted sexual activity that happens when you're pressured, threatened, or tricked.
What everyone seems to be missing in this situation is this first bit. Unwanted sexual activity. This means the sexual advances being made were unwelcome. Even under the tricked category, in order for this to be classified as sexual assault or abuse, at the time, Clover would have to not want to participate even after the reassurances from Voided. You cannot retroactively revoke consent. That's not how this works. You can certainly regret sexual encounters, feel used, etc. That doesn't mean you get to walk around calling every bad sexual encounter sexual abuse or abuse. If what Clover claims is true, and Quartelz did only sleep with Clover as a way to get Voided, that is shitty of her. That being shitty does not equate to sexual assault or sexual abuse. Clover is allowed to feel used in this situation, but Clover does not get to claim that Quartelz sexually assaulted her. The number of people who proceed to label Quartelz as a sexual abuser was, quite frankly, pretty gross, especially Luvolite, Orange's current partner. I'd have thought that after watching Orange have unsubstantiated sexual assault claims thrown their way by Quartelz, that you would understand what a seriously damaging claim this is to make, and not push this narrative.
What I'm about to say now is the statement made by Voided, which holds the sexual assault case. This is what Mel allegedly said, meaning this is being stated without proof. Voided stated that Mel had allegedly told her in call that she was only using Clover to get sexual interactions with Voided, and the evidence is there to back it up. Now let me give context as to why this would clarify under sexual assault. Coercion, specifically sexual coercion, is unwanted sexual activity that happens when you're pressured, threatened, or tricked. Informed consent is given when all parties are under the same agreement. In this case, Mel had used the opportunity to be sexual with all three of them, with the intention of getting to Voided, so she would get the opportunity to be more sexual with Voided by using Clover as a stepping stool. Voided and Clover had consented under the impression that this was a mutual interaction from Mel. However, later admitted from Mel of her true intentions is later confirmed to be trickery and lying, which is under the name of sexual assault. Mel had lied and sexually assaulted Clover to get her way to Voided.
I'll give credit where credit is due. You have mentioned that it's up to the viewer to determine if or not it's sexual assault.
You can argue with this statement as it was allegedly stated by Voided and there is no proof to back it up. You can also argue that this wouldn't be sexual assault since all parties had consented at this time. I can see where both parties come from other point of views of this statement. However, with that being factual, if what Voided stated was true, is that Mel had used Clover sexually, in other words, taken sexually advantage of Clover to get to Voided.
But the most frustrating thing is that you attempted to present yourself as an uninvolved third party to the situation, just reporting on something that concerned you. Technically, yeah, you're not directly involved in the escapades Clover, Voided, and Quartelz had, but you are certainly not uninvolved enough in the situation to posit yourself as a neutral third party. You should have disclosed you were the partner of Quartelz's ex, if you wanted to be transparent about your position in this drama. Furthermore, trying to distance yourself from everything when Quartelz responded to the situation without issuing any kind of retraction for the narrative you helped spread is just irresponsible. To be completely frank, originally I was going to keep Luvolite anonymous as Purple from the Google Doc, but this open deception changed my mind about that. You got yourself involved in false SA allegations. Please take responsibility for that. As for Mari, who also uploaded videos about this claim, even though they were much harsher about how they criticized Quartelz, and outright states Quartelz did sexually assault someone.
This situation consists of three main actors: Mel, 18, turning 19 this August, Voided Aurora, 17, and Clover, 18. It is also important to state that online sexual assault/abuse is a real thing and should be taken just as seriously as real life sexual abuse/assault. Just because this happened online doesn't make it any less valid or somehow make it quote-unquote better or not sexual assault. Normalize not being a fucking sexual assault elitist. Some of you guys are fucking strange.
They've since taken their videos down and publicly disavowed these claims, so I'll leave it here for now. There are also pieces missing from Voided's story. See, while most sources claim that Quartelz only admitted in a VC to Voided that she had only done this because she was interested in Voided, there actually is a screenshot out there to corroborate the beliefs that Voided is trying to assign to Quartelz. Yeah, no, sadly, I'd make me tweak out too much. I've already been battling I like you but partner is in the way for months. If you were still attached to Clover when Spartade, I'd still back off in instincts. I wish not to be hurt again because, like I said, I'm very afraid of love. The screenshot was taken in January of 2024, almost a half year after Quartelz had their last sexual encounter with Clover and Voided, and to some can serve as evidence that Quartelz was using Clover to sleep with Voided. Whatever the case may be, we've already gone through why this doesn't qualify as sexual abuse. Quartelz was shitty, we can see that. After this, in early April, Voided was recovering from surgery, and Voided states it was around this time that Quartelz started distancing herself from Voided. Quartelz spent most of her time in VR chat with Kai, while Voided wasn't able to join in for long periods due to her recovery. But see, here comes the weird part. Voided would repeatedly attempt to contact Quartelz to talk about something important, but what that something important is differs depending on if you read the messages or believe the testimony given by Voided. So let's read those messages in chronological order. We maybe talk later after VC. It doesn't have to be today, but just having both of us give when we're for real. Doesn't have to be super serious either, just I miss you girl and kinda need you here for me. Oh, I wasn't? I was just tired and listening along to everyone's convo. But when I'm able to, sure. For real, aw. You for real gotta get a little bit better at just telling me when you're busy, or saying not right now. They harder genuine. Because when I get no reply, I assume I'm being ignored and don't want to bother/freak you out by sending more unreplied messages. So, oh wait, I think you misunderstood. I was referring to my past DMs not being answered, not what's going on in game. Since Kai kicked me from the instance, I'm getting off VR. If you can continue the convo, please. Can't when y'all are on VR. Yeah, sure. I'm sorry she kicked you. I didn't want her to, but yeah. It wasn't your fault, so it's okay. Is right now okay or in a while? Hey, hi, since it's 4:20, I'm gonna let you know I'm gonna be taking an edible so we can have the convo tomorrow after we've both slept. No, it's a bit to ask, but preferably if you could not get in VR/talk to a bunch with Kai about this beforehand, that would be more than appreciated. I would like us both to be unbiased and of okay mental while talking, because I don't really want a repeat of what happened and then it trails off. Sorry if this is too soon to remind you, I don't mean to be a bother, but I was wondering when we could VC, since you're finally off VR and active right now, from what I've seen. Can we talk about this in VC or something? I know you probably don't want to be friends. Have a small chance to talk about stuff if that's okay. If that's not, by the way, please do say so. Just to reassure, not that I probably think I will, but if we VC, I promise it won't be hostile. No yelling, no raising my voice, no shade, I just want to talk. No, I'm not comfortable VCing for this. I'd rather text this out than anything. Not to push it, but I think this isn't going to be good through text at all. I know you don't want to, but can we please just VC instead? Telling tone through text is hard, and it's hard to be sincere. As well, I don't want our conversations shared possibly, and I don't want someone backseeing you through it. It's personal. If you're already dead set on leaving, then I'm not gonna push to VC. But if you are willing to talk it out, possibly then texting might be okay. I just need to know, sorry for saying a lot, I'm really nervous. I am already set on leaving, that's my choice to do so. No one has pushed this on me, I'm not comfortable with VCing. Again, I'd rather type out instead. We can clearly see from these screenshots what Void seemed to want to talk to Quartelz about was the distance that was growing between them. This reading is also supported by screenshots that Quartelz shows in her second livestream. Void venting to Kai about how Quartelz was leaving her on red and how she felt abandoned because of it.
Okay, so this was April 12th.
Yeah, April 12th, I believe April 12th was when, like, the first day we didn't talk. The 12th was when I found out. No, the 12th was when, like, was the first day I didn't talk to Voided. And the 13th was the second day I didn't talk to her, and then, you know, the 14th was, I'm pretty sure it was the 14th. The 14th was when, like, I found out she was talking shit about me, and, like, you know. And then,
Yeah, and then this was just,
yeah, and then,
this is just blackmail.
yeah, and then at the same time, I received this screenshot. I got a long paragraph by Voided trying to, like, cozy up to me, being like, oh, like, it's probably in the fucking video, like, I don't know, I'm... So now that I know, Kai told me, I haven't been able to talk to her about nothing yet, but from what I know, she thinks she should trust her judgment. She's talking about how my other, like, friend group, ex-friend group, were advising me that I should, you know, probably leave Voided because the situation and friendship's not going well, and my boundaries have been pushed, like, one too many times. And then, you know, that's when Voided says, like, if she does, I'm gonna need someone to hold me back from becoming absolutely evil and letting the floodgates of bottled up information spew out. Because the way if I just opened my mouth for a few things, everyone would go back to hating her. Like, I know what you are, Mel, but I choose to say quiet. Sorry.
Quiet for you.
Don't fuck with me. If she decides to leave of her own validation and sinners have absolutely no influence over it, then maybe I'll be cool. But if she lets someone else tell her what to think, the floodgates are opening wide. Let's just hope that doesn't happen. But outside of every other context and everyone has been said about the situation, just purely the emotions and conflicting thoughts and everything you wrote, you all know well. Like, I know that's obviously, but like mega therapy and medication bad. You've built yourself a cage of paradoxical logic that you can never make you wrong. You built a system where no matter how someone acts, it proves you right, which is not logically possible unless you build a system of contradiction, sorry. Self-doubt and eternal double-speak. I gotta go to bed, and then the only thing fucking Voided replies with is Mel's not well. So, like I mentioned in my video, the reason why the whole Voided thing started was because I didn't reply to her for 3 days. And in those 3 days of not replying, I found out that she was, you know, talking shit about me behind, well, just not talking very nicely behind my back, right? So we start with April 11th, where, because April 11th was the last message that I sent, and then April 15th was when, you know, we all got back. But, because the fucking things, oh, Mel's ignoring Voided, I wasn't just ignoring that, I mean, for a fucking, like, no reason. So, on the 12th, okay, sorry, I might be repeating myself because I don't have, like, a script to go off of, so I'm so sorry. But, in the middle of the 3 days that I didn't talk to Voided because I was busy doing my own thing, and, like, I just didn't get a, you know, like, a thing in general. On the 12th, I get a screenshot of, I wonder why I'm upset. Maybe, for context of this, around this time, Voided did have, surgery on her ankle. So she usually wasn't really feeling the best, but that's just the context of why she's not feeling well. I mean, she's always not feeling well, but either way. So I wonder why I'm upset. Maybe because my supposed best friend hasn't supported me, like all throughout me being mentally ill or in physical pain. I dropped sleeping just to stay awake with her so she didn't go eat a Lulu or whatever. And when I mentioned when I was in pain or expressed anything in the slight, I got a whatever that is. And then I get on the 12th, because these are in DMs. There's I appreciate it a lot, not to go about it, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I can't read. Not to go on about it, but this is like kind of one of those few situations where I like need her, and of course she's not there. Bros VR has mean a lot more to her than the motherfucker she's cried, screamed, fought, slept, lost, love, etc. with for the past like 3 years of her life. Like, bro, I've not gone through hell and back just to be your friend, and I can't even get a genuine I hope you feel better. I mostly leave it at that, but goddamn, which I don't know what the fuck she's on about because I've always been there to support her when she's gone through surgery. Or like whatever the fuck was going on, I really fucking cared about her a lot. I'm pretty sure I can find at least 2 screenshots, maybe like, oh, hope you feel better and whatever like that. On the 13th, Voided says, Zam, also, I know you've been hanging with her a lot, referring to me. For now, can you not mention Mel or show me anything including her? I'm just gonna avoid her existence for a bit. Lance. This, I'm not actually sure if I should include the screenshot. I mean, I kind of just already showed it, but I don't know. Anyway, the context for this is that on the 13th, supposedly we were, I think it was the 13th. It was the 13th, wasn't it? I'm talking to myself again. Either way, this was context for, the group chat at the time wanted to, what the fuck is it? Like, we all wanted to play Monopoly with one another, and I've been up all night, and when we did play Monopoly, I, said a billion times, like, hey, I'm not upset, I'm just tired, and I don't mean for my thing to sound off or whatever. But then Void just goes on to fucking complain about it anyways. And whatever. And then on the 14th is when never mind that shit broke. I don't know what that's talking about, but you're on VR chat probably with Mel, never mind. Then Kai says that they're with Lance and Rainy. Because, Void literally said not to mention me, but Void mentions me and myself. And then we go to, don't let Mel take them, she's evil, have fun girl, stay safe. And it's just like a more bigger version of the screenshot. Where Kai was like, taking them with a bunch of things. And like, careful with her, she's nice now, but she's always talking shit about every action and breath you take with me. We didn't talk once, I didn't even know that she was upset this whole time. I found out she was like, all this stuff happened was on the 14th. Which we'll go into the 15th first, which like, can we maybe talk after VR chat? Doesn't have to be today, but just having both of us give each other the silent treatment is getting us nowhere. Doesn't have to be super serious either, I just miss you girl and I kinda need you here for me. And I said, oh I wasn't, I was just tired and listening along to everyone's conversation, but when I'm able to, sure. And then I just fucking you for real gotta get a little better at telling you when you're busy or not. Because I get no reply to Shimon being ignored, and I don't want to bother, so I freak you out by sending more unreplied messages. Oh, I think you misunderstood, I was referring to my past DMs not being answered, but you being active, not what's going on in game. What screenshot are we on? Yeah, so then this is the 16th. I waited, it's like, she doesn't know I know, Kai told me, I haven't been able to talk to her about nothing yet, but from what I know, she thinks she should trust their judgment. I said, yeah, I'll speak more of it when I can since I'm still in VR, but we're talking about our models, and I was wondering if you'd be able to give me the updated thingy of Pastel's model. I'll go off topic, I'll be able to speak more on the subject.
As well as the multiple paragraphs of text that Void had left out of her screenshots, which highlight in no uncertain terms that what she wanted to talk to Quartelz about was what she felt was the distance in their friendship, and not how Quartelz assaulted their ex.
I was gonna say, important yep session incoming. Please don't just ignore this. Please don't just ignore this, but you don't have to rush to read/reply either. I'm not trying to be, let me see, blank though. Just because this comment doesn't come off how intended, that's not a jab at,
that's a jab. Anyways,
but I'm trying to make you, I'm trying to say you can take your time, but I cannot handle a month and a half of silence. This ended up,
it was 3 days.
This ended up very, very long. But please do read all of it, despite however you're feeling right now. It's very important. Just ahead of time as well, I've tried my best to explain things rationally and informally. If there's anything you need to ask about, please, please, please do not hesitate to ask. I'm going to try to keep this as short as I can while I'm going to try to keep this as short as I can while still saying what needs to be said, because I still want to talk to you about this together. But I feel like with what I know has been going on / being said about me, I need to do some damage control and clear some things up with you before your opinion of me wrongly gets even worse.
Oh, okay. Since I know you talks at blank and shit already, and I'm sure he hasn't helped my case in quotations, and such, I'd like to clarify some things so people will stop stomping my character when I've done nothing wrong. Other than technically say bad things about you, but more in the text below. Firstly, I'd like to say I'm really sorry for the stabby thing yesterday on VR. It was never my intent to be a personal attack on any sort, or to communicate anything, sorry. Firstly, I was feeling very awkward just sitting next to you, saying nothing. You acted pretty bubbly and generally positive towards me as well for the most part, so I attempted to instigate some sort of interaction by doing that, and when you asked me not to do it again, I said, oh my bad, I'm sorry, and I'd refrained from really interacting physically for the most part. From then on, because you made it clear you didn't like it. I didn't realize it bothered you that much again. It was never meant to be a jab or an actual attack on you or yourself. I simply just fumbled the joke. I'm so sorry for that. If I'd known it would have bothered you, I would have never done that in the first place. To add on to that situation a bit, I would have appreciated if you just talked to me about it really bothering you, rather than leaving it at, I could feel that, don't do that again. But it definitely got to the point you didn't like it across, but the problem here arises, you decided to talk to Blank about it and go real deep into it with him instead of me, which in return caused him to get a petty fucking sour opinion of me for a bit, and he accused me of a ton of stuff left and right, which was all completely untrue. As well, with that whole thing, I do not appreciate you talking tons of shit about people / my friends to me all the time, and then if the shit talking was ever revealed, you go and butter them up with some excuses / practically gaslighting them to an extent that makes you look like a fool, manipulator, and a liar. With that last part, whenever you shit talk me, I know 90% of the time I will bounce off whatever you say because I trust you actually feel that way and you aren't exactly the easiest person to disagree with due to whatever complex you've got going on. If you ever just want to shit talk / rant / vent and know you won't actually mean it, that is very important to clarify beforehand so stuff like mentioned above doesn't happen again.
When you read this, I do have lots of quote-unquote evidence to back up the fact that nobody told me what I was doing was bad and encouraged it. Secondly, I know both Kai and Blank have told you at this point, yes, I've been talking with a few of my friends, mainly Kai and Blank, about you and your behavior, and yes, it has been very rude, unjust, vile, unkind, delusional, etc. at many points. I'm very sorry they told you about all of that. I promise you, I mean, none of the insults or downright nasty shit I've said about you. I only ever let myself think that way / say it out loud because I trusted both of them with my words, and they both were told / made aware many times before and while speaking I did not mean any of it, except for the genuine criticism of you of how you of how you've been acting, and that has bothered me, of course.
Okay.
And I've told them both many times before that I am not comfortable with conversations of that nature being shared. You were never ever meant to see / hear about any of that because I was just getting out whatever popped into my mind, so it didn't turn into something real. As well, why would I ever tell you if I didn't mean it? If I didn't mean it at all, you know? To explain a bit more on that, any anger or resentment I've had towards you has come purely from a place of sadness, hurt, and betrayal. My way to attempt processing these feelings in a healthy way was confiding in friends about my problem, with hopes of feeling a little better after getting it all out.
I don't
My
think
secondary
talking
motive.
shit about your friends is a healthy way of getting it out.
Yeah.
Just saying.
My secondary motive letting feelings like that out is so that we do have a conversation. I can keep a level head and not be petty, rude, or yell at you. With that whole situation, please try to be considerate of the fact that we all do this as people. I'm sure you've done this before, but under guise of shit talking, which in my opinion, when clarified, is a very healthy way of getting bad thoughts and such out.
No, it's not.
No. So despite your hurt of knowing what has been said to an extent, please try and give a little slack and understanding for my actions on that end.
Just a little side up with the whole thing. I only talk so much shit because you kept getting mentioned. This made it very hard to stop for a second and collect myself when I had a bit to do, so they would oh my god, I'm so sorry. They would always end up coming back at some point and saying something about you. As well, since Blank was currently having his own issues with you at the time, it made shit talking quite a lot easier and safer. Feeling since there was already so much to bounce off of in terms of your actions and our feelings towards you at the time. With that, I'm very frustrated with Blank and Kai for telling you all that I've said. I know I've already wrote this above, but I cannot stress enough how upset it makes me that they are making an already bad situation worse by fueling the fire without even giving me a chance or opportunity to defend myself. It's especially damaging when they leave out important details like how I've clarified I don't mean any of it, and I say I'm tweaking in quotations every 2 seconds because I was painfully aware of how spiteful and mean I was being, when in reality I was just sad and overwhelmed beyond belief. They had both said it was okay that I was venting / ranting, and were both aware multiple times before / in between my rants that I was just letting feelings out and I meant none of the things I was saying. Except for the genuine criticisms of your actions in this whole thing. As a whole, I'm angry and disappointed in the both of them for going behind my back and making the already difficult situation worse, probably doing irreversible damage in the process. I'll say once again, even though I didn't mean any of the things I was saying, I'm so sorry you had to hear about that. I'm sorry I said those things. I know you are disgusted in quotations, but I'm sorry for any hurt it may have caused you as well.
I was trying very hard to cope with my feelings I was having in any healthy way. Any way I could at the time that wasn't spamming you for a reply, because I was / still am being mentally destroyed by this entire thing, on top of a bunch of other stuff that I already had going on. So please try your best to be a little considerate with my actions and the things I've said. And we'll say and do lots of things I do not mean in the heat of the moment or situation. And in this case, I needed to release feelings in some other way because I was too afraid to harm myself? What? Small, sadly needed reminder as well, that I'm severely bipolar. She's using it as an excuse! Bipolar with an absolutely massive fear of abandonment, and that makes processing situations, feelings a lot of things you do to me sometimes very difficult. Hell, practically impossible. It's especially hard when I'm seeing you so active doing so many other things while still being completely ignored for no reason I was aware of, which further fed into my spiral. Example, streaming, pinging, art, VR chat, etc.
Reminding what would be fun because it comes to this in reading. Lots of parts above may not be worded too well because I was typing this out and I clicked to check a DM, just passed it at 500 and deleted a huge wall of text I'd attempt to rewrite, whatever. There is a lot more to be talked about, but I feel this is really important to type to you because I know people are skewing your opinion of me left and right with half-baked information that's missing chunks.
Oh.
Sorry, it's a big wall of text, but it's really important. I have a feeling this might be important. There's more to be talked about that's been hinted / vaguely mentioned in the text, but I wanted to take accountability / explain things before even touching that stuff. Also, a side note, please do not take this as me being desperate or anything either. I'm attempting to take accountability here and right some wrongs before we can properly talk, which I hope you'll do. Yeah. Awake now, I have a lot more to say. I know they're trying to get me to leave you because it's what's best, but I can say with 100% confidence that is not the case. Please just read this and reply to an extent, so I can further inform you about what's going on because I don't know why, but those two just have it out for me at this point. So much has been skewed and misunderstood that it's not fair. I don't know what a lot of you decided in your little voided hate circle, but it's clearly based off of bias and untrue things. So sorry to add on, once again. But no, you can take your time, to an extent, replying, and I'm sorry if I've made it seem like I'm rushing you. Since we haven't talked in a little, you could be dealing with some other stuff. And in that case, there's something else. I hope you feel better and wishing you well. See you soon. Question mark. I said, I know you don't want me to leave. I've been thinking about it for a while, but after everything, I just really want to get away. I know you said they're just intrusive thoughts and you didn't mean them, but that still really did hurt and was a deal breaker for me. The threat of you wanting to blackmail my career if I left really scared me. The whole love triangle thing doesn't make me feel good either. Well, yes, I've gone over it and moved on. I know you haven't, and it makes me uncomfortable. I don't have any harsh feeling towards you. I never have. After I leave, I'm not going to be talking bad behind your back since I still care about you. Clarifying this because I know you may think I will. You are still my best friend, and I love the time we had together. I'm just really hoping you don't break out anything after this since I was just going to leave you be and hope for the best for you. I hope you're able to recover from your surgery, and I'll be able to get better in general, but I no longer want to be here, Voided. I'm sorry. Alright, whatever you say. It was something I said when I was extremely worked up, and I was just talking out of my ass, saying whatever held the most shock value. To shut up whatever was going up in my thoughts. That was absolutely no, that had absolutely no merit to it, and I haven't, and never have considered to even take a single step towards making that happen. I forgot to censor names again, I'm so sorry, whatever. I know Kai and Blank both made it out to be an actual threat, but I said that while I was having a huge split. Something that happens with BPD, sorry to mention it, I'm not trying to use it as an excuse. Where instead of feeling upset and hurt about what was happening, I once again was spiteful and angry. I promised and swear to you I wouldn't do that to you. Hell, I helped you write that doc for the purpose of you being less stressed and not having to deal with it anymore.
Ooh, the guilt tripping, chat. The guilt tripping goes crazy.
Yeah, so remember how everyone, well, Luby's always saying, oh, Mel manipulated her friends into writing that doc for them. Well, you think I've not moved on romantically. I have. I promise you I have. I didn't want to tell you before surgery when you made all those comments about how you'd still love me and would quote unquote be on my knees or anything. I did because I thought it would hurt you and I just wanted to brush it off. I've been trying really hard to work on myself and express romantic actions and gestures normally again with Clover due to trauma stuff, so I couldn't even love you that way if I wanted to. Please don't just unfriend and everything after this message. There's still more to be said, and a lot has been misunderstood from others telling you about my feelings instead of me being able to talk to them to you myself. The reason I talked to Blank and Kai about everything so aggressively in the first place was because they made me feel like they were a safe space / people to let anything I had on my mind out. They were aware I meant none of it, and they were aware I was just trying to say whatever spiteful thing came to mind because I was really upset, but they still choose to go behind my back and tell you everything. I could take back every word I said. I promised you I would, and the fact I've been pushing so much to be able to talk to you and apologize is living proof of that. Despite my horrible mental and despite however I felt, I've always done my best to help you feel better, and I care for you more than almost anyone in my life. I really don't want to lose you to one screw up. As well, sorry to add on randomly, but please keep in mind with all what I said was constantly being fed information about you from, I forgot to censor name, I'm gonna get back left, from Kai and Blank. Even after asking them to stop mentioning you because it was too overwhelming and I knew I would spiral, they kept telling me what you've been doing, specifically stuff that Kai said, reading that, knowing the stuff she says to VR chat and sinners makes you seem like you're a peasant. It made me feel absolutely horrible and will hurt. As well, almost every single day since surgery, I've been on hard narcotics, which are mind-altering drugs. I know it's really fucking stupid and corny to say, but I genuinely have not been myself these past few weeks, and I promise you, I do not normally talk about you this way, and I'm doing my best to find a better way to cope with the responses I have to certain situations. I have so much proof of everything I say about Blank and Kai as well. They both would tell me it was okay after I'd say something mean about you, and I apologize for tweaking out. Never once did any of them go to me saying, hey, I don't like what you're saying about her, or try to point out I'd been going too far. Even in my horrible mental and horrendously drugged up state, I would have almost certainly toned it down if told to. I promise you they're all just me saying whatever would get the biggest shock value in my mind to cope. I know it's your choice to leave, and it's really stupid of me saying, but please don't leave over something like this. I have forgave you for every single mess up you've done to me, and it just feels horrible knowing that after showing that much kindness and understanding to you, I'm essentially being dragged through the mud by everyone around me because of a mistake I made while drugged up and being fed negative information about constantly. I don't mean to sound cuckoo or desperate or whatever you think, and I'm sorry if me practically begging you makes you uncomfortable. I just love and care for you so much as a friend, and I really want you in my life. I will apologize as many times as I need to, and do whatever you need me to do to prove that I can do better. I don't know. I have more to say, but I'll let you reply first. I'm sorry. Please don't share this with Sinners or Blank or anyone, by the way. I'll be really hurt if you do so. Once again, I'm really sorry to ask you to stay after saying you want to leave. I made one mistake when we essentially became friends again, so you'd communicate and we'd make this work, but it seems like I'm the only one who has ever tried to do that. I understand you're sorry, and I do believe you are sorry, but again, I know you don't want me to leave, and I really don't want to leave you either because you're my best friend, and I love and enjoyed every bit we've had together, but I can't keep this up for much longer. Even if we stay friends after this, our friendship will just stay sour no matter how much talking is done. I don't want to be here, I want to get away from my own mental health even. I know you well, I know as well you have more to say, I know, but I don't want to let this conversation go on for much longer. If you don't want to leave, then why do it? And it won't stay sour. What? We've been through this before and healed and gone back to normal. I don't understand where the sudden regression of a healthy mindset is coming from. It is up to you whether you stay or leave. I can't stop you, but I really am just asking for another chance. Whatever problems you have with me are absolutely free to voice, and I will try to change and do better. I don't understand what I am quote-unquote doing to your mental health either because you never told me. I'm sorry for bad wording, and I'm trying my best, but... In other words, please give me an opportunity to do better, for us to do better as friends. I know you can do better, and I know I can. I've just been in a really bad place and need some time to go back to normal. Please, I'll do my best to be better and change whatever I'm doing that's causing harm if you just tell me. If you can consider maybe we go and break or something, I don't know. I'm sorry to beg, I'm not doing well, and I'm trying my best to talk about this as best as I can. I just really don't want to lose you. I'm really sorry, Mel. I feel like an idiot for begging you to stay. I feel horrible as well, knowing it's stressful for you in some degree. I just know this can be fixed. I know we can both be better people for each other. I'm willing to listen to whatever you have to say about how you feel about me, things I've done. Oh my god, it's the third time she's fucking said this. I want you to tell me what I'm doing wrong, and that's what I've asked of you for a very long time, so things like this don't happen. I can't be better and fix anything if I'm never told what's going on or able to talk to you about it. I'm sorry for yapping. I don't want to overwhelm you. I'm bumbling this so bad. And I said, because this is unhealthy, I've been through this before and don't want to be going through it again. I know this is something you'd like to fix, but I just don't. I'm going to be leaving now. I wish the best for you, Wooded. I really do. I just can't be the person you want me to be. I don't want to keep fixing our relationship. Goodbye. And then edit, because I forgot to clarify, please leave me alone. Do not mention me on public platforms. Do not interact with my content. Do not look at me and leave my friends alone. Edit one here, whatever. Oh my god. I know there's nothing that can be done at this point, but I guess I might as well get some thoughts down to you. Probably never find this one day, since you don't seem to care about me at all much. But please take a second to reflect upon what's happened between us. This may have quote-unquote happened before, but the circumstances were different. Hell, a ton worse, and we still managed to fix it. I really wish you didn't have such a bleak attitude about our friendship being oh my god, I can't read that. Is that irreparable? Is that how you say it? Yeah, and I'm really sorry I hurt your feelings. Whether or not you're able to hear what I was ranting about, I still said those things, and I cannot stress enough how sorry I am. Even if I had my reasons. I never intended to hurt you, and I'm sure you know that, or at least I hope you do. My intentions with being your friend have only ever been wanting to be near you and generally just live my life alongside you as one of your closest people and to be there for you when you need me as equals. I'm sorry if I ever made you feel like I was only there for any other reasons. I promise you, I have been doing my very best to keep things happy and healthy between us, but everything piled up really high for me and I kind of snapped after a certain point. I'd handle things the best I could at times, and I'm sorry that resulted in you getting hurt. Any problems I've had with you have never been about being the person I want you to be. It's mostly always been a case of something needing to be cleared up. I'm sorry I'm the way I am with the BPD and such. Sadly, there's nothing that can be done about that right now. Hell, I've been on a waiting list for a psychiatrist for at least a year now with no results. I would never ask you to do something I know you weren't capable of, or weren't able to handle doing. I simply over time have asked you for a compromise at most, example, telling me you don't want to talk to me at the moments of silence. You know by now being ignored or even given the impression that that's happened. Oh, my music stopped, sorry. Ignored is a huge trigger for me, and I've talked to you about this numerous times. I just wish you would have respected my boundaries and would have told me, I don't want to talk to you right now, piss off or something, instead of ignoring me for weeks on end. Completely understanding you have issues with communicating. I just need one thing from you, Mel, that's all. Okay. I truly do hope you have a good life. I really wish I could have been in it, and maybe will one day, but that's just really depending on how things go. I won't force it. She's still trying to think that we'll be friends in the future, because doesn't want to accept that I don't want to be your friend. Once again, if you ever wish to come back, the door is open as long as you're willing to change the things that are largely added onto this mess. Of course, I will do my best to not repeat what's going on regardless of whether I talk to you again or not. But just keep in mind, if you ever think about coming back, even if it's just to talk freely. Fuck, sorry. You didn't need to repeat yourself, fuck me! I'm willing to come back, if you come back, I'm willing to put the effort in if you will. If you do come back, please just do your part a tiny bit more that time, and I'll do my very best to do the same. Sorry for yapping or stop, I don't want to overwhelm you. Fuck. Edit 2. 3, whatever it is. Because I didn't say it at the time because I was absolutely freaking out, I really did / still do cherish the time we had together as friends. You were genuinely the closest friend I've ever had, and honestly, it really hurts that it ended this way. It could have gone 100% better. I really loved when we made stupid shit with Iris and Razzie, and generally just spending time with you / has been a blast. When we were having any issues, you were really fun to hang out. Or when we aren't having issues, sorry. You were really fun to hang out / spend time with, and I'm really sorry we couldn't do it more before things ended. You've mentioned a couple times how I was never around, and I'm sorry for that. My music, please. Spotify, shut up. I've been trying my hardest to be there for you when you need me, and talk to you when I can, but the whole surgery thing really took it out of me and I wasn't able to be seen with anyone. It wasn't just you. I can say though, I did feel the same way about you, since you were always on VR chat. It's a whole other thing I'll bother you about. Yeah, as well, I'm sorry if I was asking too much of you. If you were feeling bad at any point / apathetic, etc., you were always more than welcome to tell me you were feeling that way and I would have coped. Not trying to pin you not feeling well is a bad thing, by the way. I just didn't know how else to word it. On a side note, you said, quote unquote, you didn't want to keep fixing our relationship, but you never really do any fixing. Take this with a grain of salt because I'm not trying to come down on you, but not once have you been one to come to me and fix an issue. You internalize all your feelings and ignore them until you quote unquote forget tomorrow and get pissed if they're brought up further. Not once have you come to me to fix an issue or tell me I've done something wrong. It's always pushed to the very last possible moment when things are already blown up to a horrible degree. I know you're used oh my god, this is where the fucking I know you are used to throwing friends out like dolls when you're bored or whatever.
What the fuck?
When bored, whenever there's a slight issue, but real friendships have hardships, and if you never learn to handle those, you will sadly not get far. I have no idea what the fucking I know you feel. Oh man. I've done my part in trying to talk to you anytime I've ever had an issue with you, but 80% of the time I get ignored, blown off, or given some excuse, which wouldn't be such a big deal if you change your behaviors, but you never do. And when you do, it's replaced with an even bigger issue. I don't know. Whatever. Whatever I'm trying to say is we both have issues, and I've always been willing to compromise for yours no matter what the severity. But I've never been given that quality. I'm sorry if I'm asking for too much with that, but I and everyone else needs a little legroom to work with. Relationships are 50-50. Who the fuck is everyone else? This section is more technical yapping. You can ignore the rest past. Oh, I can't fucking read. I don't care. I know you saw it on TikTok because I immediately got blocked, but I'll state here once again. You do not have permission to use Iris, Allura, the Pastel VTuber, or the Pastel VR Chat model brooch ribbons unless I'm credited when shown use. This is not out of spite. I'm sorry for going back and saying you can use the Pastel VTuber / Allura, but if you truly wish to not associate me, I don't think it's fair of either of us to cling on to something like that. I'm sure Kai is already going to make you a replacement anyways, since she's my replacement or something. Small warning with Kai, careful not to tell her anything you don't want repeated. In my experience, she tends to tell others random friends' personal info. And no, this isn't from years ago. She does this to this day. Not trying to shit talk her, just genuinely be careful. I ask as your former best friend, please do not shit talk me to our mutual friends or anyone in that matter, because I will know it was you / Kai, and it'll only make me retaliate back tenfold. Have some respect, please. It's not a threat. As well, I really wish you wouldn't have probably asked, front PC to backseat our convo and respected my wishes even a little, because all I've ever tried to be for you was a good friend. To respect your privacy and wishes. I'm not mad, just really disappointed and hurt that something private and very sensitive is probably being made fun of, shared, or critiqued. Edit 2. I'm sorry I never got those collabs done, by the way. I know you probably don't care, but I promise I wanted to get them done. Also, take the stuff above the previous edit with a side of salt. If it comes off rude or petty, that's not the intent. I just got a lot of words to say. I don't have the proper energy to write it out properly, so sorry if any of that was rude or uncalled for. All of this is lighthearted. I'm not trying to be spiteful. You just left with no option. Assuming you stay gone, treat your new friends and family better than you would have treated me when it's gotten bad. See you later, or never. But I did try my best for you, Mel. I feel like you just never cared enough to try yourself or communicate and listen. I could be missing something, but if you want to be gone fast, so we couldn't really talk about that, could we? If you see this and it upsets you to read, I'm sorry. You're more than free to DM and clear up anything I got wrong. I might reach out again one day, but I'll leave you be. I won't try to force you to be friends with someone you don't like. If your friends are referring to Kai and blank, I will absolutely not be including them if I talk about everything.
This is excluding them.
Oh, excluding. Fuck, I'll absolutely not be excluding them if I talk about everything. Any of your other friends have nothing to do with this, so obviously I would not be including them. And sorry, but you refuse to talk to me personally about this stuff, and nobody around you holds you accountable, so I'll say what I want about what I know when the time comes. If you'd like to clear things up before that happens, when you are absolutely free to do so, but know that none of what I'd be doing is out of spite, because some things are genuinely weird and not okay. Okay. Here's the funny part. Also, I wasn't planning on interacting with your content, period. I don't know what gave you that idea. And mention me.
That's still interacting with them.
And maybe going back and editing your message in our DMs. I don't know. The only times I'd mentioned you was because of an ask, which I get a ton, and that was vague as hell. Do not play the victim, because that is not what you are. You had every opportunity to talk this out and clear things up, but you refused. As well, I'm not even 100% whether I will say anything. That honestly depends on your actions. I genuinely do not want to go down this route, but I feel morally obligated to. Not that you ever read any of it, I'm sure. I've deleted my previous long edits because you genuinely don't deserve any of the words I laid out for you. A kind reminder that despite what you believe, none of what I've done is out of hurt. I've kept those feelings out of it. Well, except you literally admitting to me that you only slept with Clover to fuck me, and some other stuff that's completely understandable to be upset about. Also, genuinely get your shit together with Kai. It's weird as fuck, and you giving her special treatment, trying to replicate the same behaviors we did, raising Iris, letting her lie about her age, the inappropriate behavior, it's not okay. You're ignoring all the fucked up shit she did as a huge red flag as well. I know where I'm reading. Funny how you were okay with her and took interest when she became a fan. Kai wasn't a fan. A fan will never be able to be your friend properly, and you are a very good example of that. Thank you. Absolutely wild you went from hating her to thinking she was more mature than I made her seem. I didn't say that. Just a heads up, I'll be releasing the recording of you screaming at me for 40 minutes, and its relevant parts soon. Does that imply she's gonna like cut shit out? Whatever. So if you want to clear things up or have any evidence you want to creep to share with the public, I suggest you provide that. Not a threat! Just a heads up. It's not hard to have normal boundaries around people significantly younger than you, by the way. Also, well, it won't kill you to put down your ego. It won't kill you to put your ego aside and admit your wrongs. Genuinely disappointing. I genuinely hope you change for the better one day. I never wanted to have to see you become so terrible.
In contrast, in the video made by Luvolite, she states the reason the SA allegations haven't been talked about behind the scenes was because Voided had previously attempted to talk to Quartelz about this.
That she did with the first document. When Voided was talking about Mel on her Tumblr page, there had been a moment in this time frame that one of her friends approached Voided for her. What these conversations were basically Mel sending in this person to stop talking about herself publicly and talk in a group chat with Kai, Mel, and this friend. I'll get into why Kai is relevant later on to the video. The reason why Voided didn't take this offer is 1, it was being asked through a friend instead of Mel herself, 2, stated that she would have to talk in a group chat that wasn't private between Mel and Voided, and 3, just the fact that before this, Voided was consistently asking Mel to talk about the things that had happened to them in private. So yes, this was attempted to be handled with privately, and this is the exact same behavior she shared when Orange had tried to contact her after the Honest video. She simply didn't bother trying, nor did she want to. It's also important to note that when this relationship had crashed down, Voided had been pouring as much information about her feelings as she could. While this could be argued for Voided being a lot to handle at the time, Mel had little to no response at all, and even before this, when Voided was asking her to talk, Mel had been bluntly ignoring her, and when she wasn't, used Voided to get the model that she made for her and didn't bother responding again.
Even if we're ignoring the fact that Voided clearly did not show any intentions of talking to Quartelz about the sexual assault in these messages, Voided actually shows their bias in covering the situation by stating that Quartelz was avoiding talking about the situation in the screenshot where Quartelz agrees to talk. Voided asked Quartelz to talk about the situation in VC instead of DMs, and Quartelz states this is not a conversation she's comfortable with having in VC and would rather do it over text. Quartelz is just setting a boundary regarding how she'd like to handle the situation. It's not Quartelz's fault that Voided refused to talk to Quartelz about something over text instead of VCing about it. Furthermore, Quartelz doesn't appear to have any idea before Voided went public about the sexual assault allegations that Voided even considered that situation to be sexual assault. So, yeah, this whole thing should have stayed behind the scenes and should never have been brought to the public because your relationship problems with someone else do not belong on the internet. I feel like I need to reiterate this, but Clover is entitled to feel used or hurt or however they do about the situation, as is Voided. But being a shitty friend never equates to sexually assaulting or sexually abusing someone. There's also more that Voided neglected to mention, and that's how much she was reciprocating this flirty, I want you but I'm already taken attitude. Yeah, that's right, surprise! There's a third instance of what I would consider cheating in this video, and that would be Voided talking to Quartelz about how she has a massive crush on her and didn't know what to do about it because she didn't want to leave Clover.
Alright, so is it Tweakin'?
Help, you're going on about something. Cat emoji. What am I meant to piss
cat
you about
emojis.
about what you're thinking about?
Agony. Part wants what it wants, but brain says no. It's all you can't help who you have feelings for until it's your best friend XD, maybe.
Oh,
I shouldn't have said that, maybe. I'm going to hell, I'm going to hell, I'm going to hell.
the fish I ordered was talking. Go to hell, I'm already in jail, so there you go. You can read that out.
Mel Pookie Burr Snookums. I think
I hate her.
I like. It's been marinated.
Keep in mind, Voided and Clover were together at this time.
I done kept my yapper shit, but because I don't like yapping, only to change my mind. Says it hasn't changed its mind in weeks.
I haven't been able to drown out the feeling like I normally am able to.
And then now I want to tell Clover, but fear. I feel so
I
bad
feel like it's good intentions, but I feel like that would go extremely very south.
because I still really like her as a person and stuff. But a relationship is not what I can handle right now.
Wee.
I'm bugging out though because I have thoughts and feelings that are making my brain that just get projected onto other things.
Very felt with the emojis.
I'm going to hell. I should have taken not my
Not boyfriend.
BF. Yeah, I've taken not boyfriend as my first indicator. I mean, I did, but you didn't warn me.
Want me. We're still recovering.
Yeah, I know. I hate BPD. It's bugging.
It's okay. I feel like this because I got a quarter of what I felt at my ass after having to shove it up there for so long. I'm talking about my feelings about it basically.
Alright, let's see. Me too. I have so much more I cannot say.
Oh, wow, me too. What a crazy coincidence. How the fuck do you spell that word spell? Where's my dad, bro? I wanna go home.
Bugging out.
My face is making 90 screenshots already.
A good
Yeah,
part.
yeah,
My
there you
brain
go.
made a diagram.
Right.
So, y'all know the part where she said that Mel was leading her on? Take a
So
good look at this.
yeah, so she ends up making a diagram of like, oh, if I were to be with Clover or if I were to be with Mel, or I don't know, both, whatever. So, but it's what Clover was. I like you and I attach your left leg. Sex, goods, romance, very scary. Used to getting giddy feelings sometimes. I do. Scared to leave. I want to commit. I care about her. And then towards me, it was like, I like you and you are are attached to your left leg. I get the giddy feelings and have been feeling it for years. Sometimes my pants speak more. Possibly couldn't handle romancing. Or like romantic. And I remember after seeing this is when my feelings started dying down because I'm like, ow.
So
Okay.
that's not.
Oh yeah, Mel.
That's not.
Mel wanted to do stuff with me. Mel wanted to do stuff with me. Mel wanted to do stuff with me. Got you nothing all those times I couldn't pick what's
Is that not objectification? Oh shit.
She did that way, yeah. And then
I have for years. Everything just keeps getting in the way. You know, her partner.
yeah, like Clover?
Oh my fucking god. It wouldn't make me feel. If it wouldn't make me feel morally fucked up, I'd yap about it. Thumbs up emoji.
It's okay, I can wait. Robot emoji. I feel like the glass of milk from last night! Help me, bro! Forgive me, I'm extremely afraid of love, and my brain has been gaslighting me for months that it would never happen, even when you've directly told me to my face you have feelings too.
No, it's okay. You know my situation with my relationships 99% of the time, so you and me both.
Anyways. Because the bestie westie together, but not together because no label is cool and refreshing. I'm gonna fucking cancel myself for saying that. Anyways, sounded a bit too nice. I have no idea. Anyways,
Oh god.
I have no idea if I worded that right.
I'm bugging out because if I did end stuff with Clover, I'd probably still be an attached cunt and act the same towards her. And I don't know if that'd sit well with you. Hormones got me bugging sometimes.
Yeah, no, Sally, that made me tweak out too much. I've already been battling. Yeah, this is the context to the full of this thing that was put in the fucking video. Which, yes, yeah, no, Sally, that made me tweak out too much. I've already been battling I like you, but partner is in the way for months. If you were attached to Clover when separated, I'd back off out of instincts. I wish not to be hurt again because, like I said, I'm very afraid of love.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened, honestly. My brain works in mysterious, broken ways, but I get it. If the circumstances ever happen where we end up hoobie-gooby closer, it definitely had to be after I detach anyways, so don't worry about that. My commitment issues can't even answer where I want to go to eat, let alone this. Holy moly. But if it makes you feel any better, even though we both clearly have goober.
You know, we both clearly have feelings.
Oh, feelings.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's not like we need to rush to figure them out or act on them. We got lots of time in our lives to see where everything goes in general. Sorry I brought it up.
No, you're fine. I'm glad it was, honestly, because keeping in whatever I felt was eating me alive and not being able to say something. Because I did kind of guess if you did break off from Clover, you'd maybe have an unhealthy, still talking and attached thing. Not that I'm shaming, because I'm saying in general, I guess. But if I were, oh my god, can I not read? But if it were so, I know I'd catch my ass still waiting on the sidelines help. Kind of saying, since I had feelings, and, like, it's unhealthy, and I realized it was, like, the next day. She got Clover with the phone.
I may not have a ton of experience when it comes to relationships, but even I'm raising a fucking eyebrow at this because, to my understanding, you do not talk to the person you have feelings for while you're in a relationship with someone else. Not even if it's your best friend. And to indulge in that friend's feelings by letting them know that you feel the same way, that you don't want their feelings to die because if it was a year earlier, you definitely would have dated them. Isn't this emotional cheating? Ever since the live streams, Voided has been acting a little strange on their Tumblr, including saying Quartelz wouldn't be getting harassed if Quartelz wasn't such a bad person, ignoring how she was getting harassed partly because of the sexual abuse allegations that Voided spread. You're literally a massive hypocrite. She shouldn't send her massive fanbase after me. You started the whole call-out thing publicly. She's allowed to finish it publicly so people can stop fucking harassing her. You're fucking insane. Very kind wording. There's a difference between making a call-out for things like this, endangering/flirting with minors, her lying about the doc, etc. Things that need to be publicly addressed. Her putting out private things that have absolutely nothing to do with her situation, her innocence, or anything. The only thing I brought up publicly that is arguably unnecessary would be the sexual abuse stuff. Though this is out of the fact that I want some closure about that, since I couldn't talk to her directly about it. She wouldn't be getting harassed if she wasn't such a rotten individual, hurting everyone around her, and rather blaming things on others and distract her from her own wrongdoings than admit her wrongs and try to be better. She's entitled to defend herself or finish off, but her outing private combos and events just isn't either one of those things, and it's absolutely nothing to do with anything. It's pointless petty jab to try and make me lose my credibility/look bad. I don't mean she's actually disproven anything from the main claims I've made against her. She just isn't allowed to go nuh-uh to the things I said, and others have pointed out, and brought this to light without showing a shred of relevant evidence to prove this. Anyway, in light of recent stuff she's been putting out about me for my own mental health and safety, I'm going to be taking out of the situation and stopping my involvement in it. She's clearly willing to show whatever private and irrelevant stuff she has access to, venting sensitive topics or not, to get her way. I don't want to feed her hate boner for me any more than it already is. I do not want my private thoughts and feelings I was struggling with to be further outed by her. The things she's shown were between Clover, her, and I, privately to be discussed, not shared around to prove some unimportant and unrelated claim she made up. I was not a great person back in 2023/early 24, as clearly evidenced in the private combos she shared, and I'm still not the best, but I'm trying my damn hardest to be better, and do better. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm going to be archiving all the posts related to Quartelz and her misdeeds on a separate Tumblr. I've done what I made the call out for and beyond already, so it's up to all of you to make your judgments now. So she can't lie about shit and be like, see, I tried to contact Voided and she blocked me. As of 6/50/12/27/2024, I have her blocked on Discord. Not like she was ever going to reach out to me and talk about this maturely anyways. TLDR, it isn't hypocrisy because some callouts need to be made, such as her interactions with minors, doing stuff with the docs she wrote, etc. Her callouts for me have so far just been petty personal things. She said out because she can. Non-abusive relationship problems and private venting are not things that need to be called out. I'm stepping away from addressing this and will be archiving all posts to a separate Tumblr. Don't forget what she has done. Voided. Quartelz absolutely has every right to show people DMs between you two when you tried to paint her as the one chasing you while you were in a relationship. You You can't twist the narrative like this when it was a mutual pining for each other that was made very, very evident. You also can't be claiming that you tried talking things out with her about the sexual assault allegations when it turns out you contacted her back in April of 2024 when you were trying to talk about a crumbling friendship and using bits and pieces of that conversation to paint your narrative. If you lie about someone, other people have every right to pull up screenshots to show you're lying. As for Quartelz, I can't say I'm not frustrated at her as well for once again being the person someone's cheating on their partner with. You should have shut Voided down as soon as she started confiding she had feelings about you, and told her to talk about them with someone else if you were conscious about the fact you were also returning those feelings. I think I've said enough about Quartelz' detractors though, so it's time to move on to criticisms that were actually valid in this situation and talk about Quartelz' faults too. Welcome to any of you who skipped forwards in the video to this section. For all of the bullshit allegations made against Quartelz, there were also valid complaints. Once again, I will be going through the claims from where I feel are the most important. Keep in mind, this section does not negate the criticism of the previous one, just as the previous section does not negate the criticisms of this one. Both parties have done wrong, but we do not need bullshit claims from either side to muddy the waters of what they actually need to be criticized for. During late 2022 and stretching into 2023, Quartelz' friends would spam Luvolite's comment sections with how she shouldn't be copying Quartelz' art and memes. They would accuse Luvolite of having copied Quartelz' Who Is She meme, specifically this section of it, which as you can see is pretty plainly stupid to be claimed was copied. Even more stupid is Quartelz claiming an overlay. Luvolite was using this heart overlay in the background in her Daijoubanai meme, which was released on July 27, 2023. This happened to be the same overlay that Quartelz used in her Overtime meme, posted February 15th, 2023. An overlay which, by the way, neither of them created. It's an overlay made by IP Design. You can't claim something that you never made. This is easily the dumbest thing ever deemed worthy of harassment ever. Speaking of dumb decisions though, I'm gonna say it now, had Quartelz not gone out of her way to make it clear it was her ex she was referring to, not only through the blocks of text in the captions of the video, but also changing the titles of her old gifts for Orange, there would have been no issues with her honest video. You were this close to getting it right. You made a completely separate character for this, and if people didn't read the description or the captions, this would have looked like an animation meme that fit into Pastel's backstory or something. Is it wise to be posting your relationship drama on your channel? Fuck no. It's possibly one of the dumbest things you can do when you have not gone through the steps of actually ensuring the anonymity of the other person. You can't be making claims like abusive relationship and sexual assault on a platform this large without the receipts to back it up. If you're not comfortable sharing that shit, then guess what? You don't get to accuse anyone of that publicly. How you feel about the relationship should be kept between you, your friends, and your therapist in that case. Even more so when it's compounded with the fact that you've gone ahead and actively involved your fans in it by venting about it in your public Discord server, which is not the place where you'd be sharing your problems with your underage fans. Your fans are not your therapist, your fans are not your friends, and your fans are not who you talk to when you're tweaking out about your ex. Keep that shit private. Not only is it horribly parasocial to be involving fans like this in your personal life, it is also an abuse of your power. Inherently, no one is going to be speaking out against their idol who claims they were in an abusive relationship. Even more so when you're accusing that ex of having been a pedo, which is several steps an accusation too far when the age difference between Scotch and Orange was 3 years at most. The only thing I'm going to push back on is this idea that Quartelz is somehow wrong or bad for wanting to kill their ex, as it's a pretty common sentiment after breakups, regardless of how the relationship actually was. Should Quartelz have kept this off their main channel though? Yes! This shit should have stayed private between you and your friends. Given how much this situation has spiraled, it is ill-advised to keep mentioning your ex in public spaces to your fans, if you really are moving on from it. Keep this private, and however Quartelz deals with it privately is none of our business. The amount of harassment this generated for Orange and their partner is completely uncalled for, because it is not any of your fans' business what happened during the relationship, regardless if Orange cheated or not. You were in your right to talk about your experiences in your relationship publicly as a way to vent. You are not in your right to openly target your ex on your big-ass platform because of what happened, and even less so by making unsubstantiated claims about Orange. One of the things the document actually does show well is Quartelz was unhealthily obsessed with their ex. This was demonstrated through events that they posted when they were younger, where Quartelz drew themselves killing someone Orange was spending more time with, as well as sending obsessive messages to Orange afterwards. What did I do? What did I do, man? You reacting so possessive, it's scary. Oh, I thought it was obvious. Obvious? You're starting to spend more time with blank than you are with me. So to make myself feel better, I killed them off in my own little world so you'd pay attention to me again. You never talk to me in calls anymore. You always tell me how much of a good time you're having with them, and I get the leftovers, which is just tiredness. I give you so much attention and you only give half back, or nothing at all. I'm sorry, please, that wasn't my intention. Really now. It wasn't. I didn't mean to. Please. I just wanted to spend time with friends. This behavior would continue into their late teens, as Quartelz talked pretty obsessively about how much they hated that Scotch stole Orange's attention away from her. Something more recent would be Quartelz admitting to have kept a USB full of Orange's old art in 2023. Where's my USB? Uh-oh, you know it's really bad when they pull out the USB. Oh, it's already plugged in. No, I lied, wrong USB. Censored because... but it is this one. Put out my USB for this shit. I didn't find the video, but I found the frame. Ugh! My god, this was 5 years ago. I'm gonna have a panic attack. I think somewhere on my USB I have recordings. Oh my god, do you have them? The audio edit of Sweet Little Lies? That was my shit. I'll find it in a bit. I just woke up. Bet, take your time. I need to, like, prepare myself to hear COVID-25's voice. These instances do show that Quartelz was very much overbearing about who Orange spent their time with and how much, as well as how Quartelz was very much fixated on their ex. Unhealthy as fuck, and something they should get checked out. But again, this is not the public's business to see get fixed. This all goes to support the idea that videos like Honest were probably posted equally as a way to vent and as a way to spite Orange. During the peak of this drama in September of 2024, Quartelz was going around in her Discord server and continuing to do nothing when their server started jokingly making vaguely sexual jokes around her minor fans. Keep in mind, this was in response to the claims that Quartelz was grooming Kai. Oh no, our first claims against Mel got debunked? Let's throw in some more bullshit, because you have to believe Mel is a bad person no matter what. I genuinely do not care about this anymore. I'm ready for my message to get screenshotted. Guys, look, Mel's a bad person because they don't care that drama is revolving around them. I sent in Goat's comments about the whole twerking 15-year-old thing, saying that I twerked on and twerked with an 18-year-old when I was 15, so I guess I was groomed. You know what? Fuck you guys. I'm jerking off to 3 doing the whip at Nene, and none of you can stop me. Help? I'm in my villain arc now. Hello? Ugh, my alpha daddy senses are intensifying. Oop, I'm gonna get cancelled now for allowing a 16/17-year-old making a sex joke. Goodbye, guys. Grr, back away from my wife. Know your place, Omega. I'm the only 16-year-old here. Y'all gonna call me Kai? I'm sexualizing myself. True. Like, on one hand I feel old. Jail time! I belong in there, anyways, don't drop the soap. Nah. Quartelz didn't seem to grasp the idea that she shouldn't be interacting with any minors in any sexual way, even jokingly. Messages like these articulate that fact better than anything else, as she jokes about how unreasonable it is that people are mad at her that she didn't stop a teenager from making a sex joke. Missing, somehow, that the teenager is someone she's directly interacting with. Even though this seems more like incompetence than malice, it's something Quartelz deserved to be called out for. As of this video, Quartelz has made their server 18+, so hopefully this kind of stuff will not repeat in the future. Finally, we make it to the last claim of this video. The claims of Quartelz grouping Kai when she was 18 and Kai was 15. This was the claim that I was raising my eyebrows at the most. It also was the one that had the most evidence. A lot of people drew similarities between this and the Cindy Bear situation because in both cases, the argument was that the adult was irresponsible rather than malicious in what they were doing. Quartelz didn't mean to endanger Kai, that's just their sense of humor to make sex jokes, and they weren't used to being the oldest person in the room.
Ever since I was young, having stupid humor with suggestive themes in it was the norm for me. It was even normal when Voided, Kai, and I were all friends. All of us had the same humor that we'd pick up on. People are throwing around that because my humor has suggestive themes in it from time to time must mean that I'm grooming them, even though everyone else around me would have the same humor. Since a majority of my friends were adults at the time, it didn't exactly click that I should have dialed down my humor or actions around someone who's younger than me. I'm never used to being the older person. Ever since growing up, I've always been the youngest in a group, so I've never had the responsibility of having to watch what I say since I usually get carried away whenever I'm having fun in whatever current friend group that I'm in. I've been scolded and yelled at for this before, but since I was being scolded and yelled at, I couldn't comprehend where I was in the wrong because I just can't take it in if I'm being yelled at. So I was able to find someone to talk to that did tell me the errors of my behavior, and now I'm able to understand I shouldn't have been acting that way around Kai.
Additionally, she claims that she didn't want Kai to feel singled out by treating them differently from her other adult friends, by not making sex jokes, which is...
Kai was my friend, and I never saw them anything past that. Therefore, I didn't want to treat Kai differently than how I acted towards any of my other friends so they didn't feel left out, and that was the problem.
Going through the list of interactions that have been publicly uncovered, I'll quickly cover the one instance where I feel like things have been blown out of proportion, and ironically, it's the first claim. The clip shows an instance where Quartelz and Kai are dancing together, which includes instances where they are twerking and grabbing their crotch. Upon first glance, this seems to be pretty cut and dry, until I noticed the Just Dance being mirrored in the background. Just Dance, which has an E to 10+ rating. After this clip, we're shown what appears to be Quartelz and Kai cuddling. Quartelz claims this was taken out of context, and that she was laying there beforehand, and Kai simply came up to sit next to her some time after that. The last thing to come out of this claim was that Quartelz was doing sexual shit when they were shipping their character Raspberry with Kai's character Kaya. This was mostly just assumptions on Voided's end, because she believed Kaya was a ripoff of her OC, Iris. Because Iris and Raspberry had a very sexual thing going on, Kaya and Raspberry would be the same. This was proven false in Kai and Quartelz's videos going over the allegations.
Starting off with the following statements from Voided. Yeah, I can 100% confirm they sleep together in VR chat commonly. And ugh, them having a whole ship name for it and everything when it's clearly just trying to fill the space that Iris and Razzie had, it's sickening. Mel's incapable of OCXOC without projecting, in my experience, so this is nasty, man. What Voided is referring to in this screenshot is me and Mel shipping Kaya and Raspberry. When me and Mel had shipped these OCs, I was unaware that Mel was projecting onto Razzie at all. I had thought it was a good and fun OC thing at the time, but as I looked back, I soon did realize that Mel was more likely than not projecting onto Raspberry, which is a little concerning considering the super romantic and suggestive undertones it did have. However, it was not sexual in the way that is compared to how Iris and Razzie were portrayed. Here's an example of Iris and Raspberry from Voided's Tumblr, and then here's an example of Kaya and Raspberry from Mel. As you can see by these provided images, they are eerily similar, if not just for the OC's designs, but as well as their personalities and general relationship. For the more suggestive undertones it did have, it was in a more joking format, but it was still not okay, as I was 15 years old at the time. The jokes that we made included things such as Kaya looking at Raspberry's bong dildo collection, joking about drawing Raspberry in a suit without the back of it, and referencing future sexual acts between the two, joking about one of them being more forceful than the other. This was in VC, so I do not have any screenshots referencing this.
With the shipping OCs, it's all just petty stuff. I've always shipped OCs with friends, I've shipped OCs with Voided before, and I've even shipped them with friends now. Voided seemingly made a big deal over it because the character in question was Raspberry, and I guess she just assumed that how Raspberry and her character acted was gonna be the same as Raspberry and Kai's character. Because of this, I had some of my private drawings leaked that were not safe for work, but thank every fiber in my body that they were cropped, but it was still a breach of privacy considering whenever I did draw not safe for work and sent it to Voided, it was always a consensual thing that Voided would ask if it's okay to save it, and I would say yes because I trusted her at the time. Not to self, just to not do that again. My character, Raspberry, is a sexual character from time to time, but that's not all what he's about. There are other things about him that aren't him just being a horn dog. Any drawings I've made of Raspberry and Kai's character were all just cute fluff stuff. I wasn't interested in making any sexual stuff related to them, and if anything, it just made me uncomfortable. As well, I'm pretty sure it was just mad that Kai's character looked similar to Voided's character because they were both blue and had antenna. Okay. But the OC thing is still being pushed to this day, and now that I'm shipping Razzie with another friend, my friend's character is now being called a Voided clone.
Anyways, those were the pieces of evidence that I don't think the claims match up with once the context is provided. However, the other evidence at the very least points to misconduct. Quartelz has confirmed that at one point during a video call with Kai, she was in nothing but her underwear and a crop top. Spoilering just in case. Another thing is, when we would VC, sometimes she would just turn on her camera and she would just be in underwear and a crop top. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to seem weird, but no offense girl, I don't need to see your hoo-ha out for the world. I can try and answer any question yous all have, the best I can. Ew, what? Claiming that shit without evidence is wild. Sorry for all this, I was looking through GoatCato's comments and got curious. True, but I feel like it's important to include proper evidence when making claims as serious as this. Are they mad I wear comfortable clothes in my own household? They could have also turned off Mel's cam since you can disable others' cameras on calls. The problem obviously isn't the fact that she's trying to be comfortable in her own home, it's that it's not appropriate to be in a VC with a minor in nothing but your underwear and crop top. If you are, turn your camera off. There's a story corroborated by Kai about how Quartelz had lied about Kai's age when bringing them into an 18+ space in VR chat once. Luckily, nothing sexual happened, and Quartelz has allegedly not allowed Kai back into those 18+ spaces after this point.
My microphone broke throughout half of the video, so I am having voided read lines for me, smiley face.
We had a small friend group, and for readability's sake, and just so it's easier to keep track, we will call this group Smiley. Smiley was a group consisting of mostly people that were 18+. Mel and I were both friends with these people, though primarily at the time it was her own friend group. One time, we were all in a private Sunset Bar World, which if you don't know what that is, it's a VR chat world where you can make custom drinks, socialize, and it has private rooms, clearly indicating that this world was not for children. And mostly, everyone from the Smiley group was there. In a separate room, there was a spin the bottle game, and we all had stood there, and one of the members had asked, quote unquote, "So just making sure everyone is 18+, right?" end quote. But obviously, I was 15 at the time. But instead of saying anything, me and Mel kinda just looked at each other and rolled with it, allowing me to endanger myself and the adults around me. Following that, a similar 7 Minutes in Heaven Truth or Dare version was played afterwards. Thank God nothing actually happened that night, because it could have gone a lot worse than it did, through VR chat or not. This has shown that time and time again, Mel does not care about the safety of those around her, especially those of minors. She cannot seem to control herself or her behavior around them. Luckily, Mel didn't let me lie about my age past that point, and I have become aware of the genuine consequences of me doing so. I have not done it since.
Another clip from VR chat shows Quartelz and Kai shaking their asses in VR on a mutual adult friend, and later on, Quartelz would briefly pretend to give this friend a blowjob. There really is no justification for this clip. It's gross. It should never have happened at all with a minor in the room. There were other rumors about Quartelz and Kai meeting in real life, although thankfully those plans fell through, and those two just remained internet friends. Finally, what I would consider to be one of the worst instances of sheer neglect, Quartelz sent Kai a gif of someone shoving a dildo up their ass, uncensored. There is some uncertainty to this evidence, as we can't see who Quartelz is talking to, as no names are mentioned, and whoever Quartelz sent this to had their reply cut off. It's possible that this gif wasn't sent to Kai, so take this part of the video with a grain of salt. What do I think of this situation? While I can believe that Quartelz was negligent instead of outright malicious with her actions, I do not think she should be back in contact with Kai given everything that's happened. While it hasn't crossed the line from criminally negligent to groovy for me just yet, I think Quartelz needs a really long break from her social media and really should cut off any friendships with minors, as she hasn't demonstrated herself to have the awareness required to be friends with them. While I can acknowledge that Quartelz is making an effort to change, I don't think she's actually taken the time to properly reflect on what's gone wrong if she's back in contact with Kai. And with that, we've finally reached the end of this godforsaken video. I'm sure people are wondering why this video took so long to make, given how early I was contacted about the situation. Part of it was due to the fact that I'm busy with university a lot of the time. Part of it was because new shit kept coming out and I had to look through those claims. And part of it was because I was waiting for Quartelz to finally properly respond to everything. It's fairly evident at this point that Quartelz does not regret having harassed Livulite or Orange. Through the many times she stated she doesn't want to apologize to people who hurt her. However you feel about that is up to you to decide. But we can all come together and agree that it was completely inappropriate for her to launch this kind of harassment towards them. Similarly, just because Quartelz was shitty to them, it does not give Livulite the right to peddle false allegations of sexual assault against Quartelz, as that video is still up at the time of recording. Voided seems to have most of their judgment clouded by the bitter ending of their friendship with Quartelz, and needs some time away from the situation, which could be said for a lot of the parties involved, who keep harping on parts of the situations that are completely inconsequential. I'm looking at you, Mari. All of the parties seem to be getting a chance to move on from the drama, and I'll say it again for anyone who didn't hear me the first 2 times. Do not go out of your way to harass the people mentioned in the video. Quartelz undoubtedly has shit to answer for, and I hope that they're keeping their word and no longer endangering mine, whether that be from her audience or her friends like Kai. If you want to see the timelines I made for this video, go over to my Tumblr or Twitter for the full PNGs. I have a Patreon if you would like early access to my videos, and it's where I upload behind-the-scenes updates while I work on videos as well as bloopers. As for me, I'm dipping out. It's been almost 3 hours into this recording. Thank you all for sitting through this mess, and I'll see you all in the next one whenever that may be. Bye!